And now match 6. The numbers are 31.
And good afternoon, everyone. Happy Wednesday and welcome to Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. I'm Bill Anderson. The whole team is here. We're getting things all set up and ready to go. By now, you know the drill. We are live on Fox Local, so hopefully you've downloaded the app. We are live on all social media platforms. That's Fox 29 TikTok page. That's Fox 29 Philly Instagram. That's Fox 29 Philly YouTube and Facebook. We are there, which means that you can jump on throughout the discussion, interact with us. I haven't set it up just yet. Let me get my high-tech stand right here so I can keep track of everything that is going on social media, because we want to be able to answer your questions. I generally go into the Fox 29 TikTok page so that I can follow all the things that are going on with you as we get that up and running. So here's what we're going to do this evening. There's a lot going on, as is always the case. We've got plenty of time to explore it. So there is an FBI case that we're going to look into. It's been open for multiple years, but it took an interesting turn today. There was a press conference, there was a discussion on that, and we will get to that. They have upped the reward to $1 million, and someone from our area has now made the top 10 most wanted FBI list. So we will get to that shortly. Obviously, there's a lot going on with the weather, so we will run through that. There's currently developing news about power outages in our area around the L, 2nd Street to 40th Street around City Hall. There have been multiple first responders who were there on the scene, so we will get you caught up with that. Sports. The World Baseball Classic. The United States was walking around with our chest puffed out. Best team in the world is what they were saying, but they may have celebrated prematurely. And for people who haven't been following that, we will explain all of that to you as well, help you understand what's going on there. Trending topics, a beautiful story about community coming together for and in support of a little girl who lost everything in a fire, and so much more. Of course, we've got the national issues, several press conferences, discussions about DHS and funding the airport and TSA workers. A lot is going on, as I said. We also have our social media question of the day. We do that every day so that you can jump in. You see here over my shoulder, that's my social media ticker. That's for my YouTube page that's just getting up and running. That's Bill Anderson on TV on YouTube. That's my TikTok page, Bill A. Fox 29 on TikTok. And then my Instagram page is the same. So the quick question of the day. Should I ask the question of the day, Chris, who's here producing with us, or should I set it up so that people have the ability to answer, or should we hold on for just a second while we get all of the social media rooms and everything open and running? Jake, are we up and live?
Yes, we're live.
Let's throw it out. We are up and live. Okay, so the social media question of the day. There is a trending video from a woman who is a self-proclaimed animal lover, specifically shark lover. So no sound, Adam, here in the control room, but let's pull up this video. So this video is making the news. It was in Florida. Imagine that you're walking along the beach and you come across this, a pretty large great white shark. This woman sees the great white shark, gets really upset about it, calls her friend, partner, associate, whomever, and says, we have to do something. So as you can see, they go out into the ocean to try to help this great white shark who beached itself. This went on for a while because obviously it is a pretty big shark. We're not playing her sound, but she was pretty distressed and telling it it's going to be okay and I love you and you're going to live and all of this kind of stuff. That's what was going on in this situation in Florida. So the social media question of the day. This is trending. It is going viral. We would love your input. The question is up at Bill A. Fox 29 on Instagram, TikTok, and the Fox 29 Philly page. If you came across this, would you help? if you're taking a nice leisurely stroll along the beach and you come across a easy 7 foot, I mean, you take a look at it, you can see the video. Those are adults that are there next to the shark. You think 7 foot is about right? 7, 8, I mean, it's bigger than the people who are out there. Would you help? We've got 4 people in the studio here along with me. Are you helping? No. Chris, are you helping? That's a no vote. Adam? No way. That's a no. Jake? No. Jake, no, is not helping. Juan, are you helping? That's a no? That's a no. That's a no. That was an emphatic no. All right, so we got a bunch of no's here. But let us know what you think. So you can jump on the Fox 29 TikTok page. Is that open, Adam? Are we live on TikTok yet?
I'm getting it.
So it'll be there in a second. You can hit us up on social media and let us know what you think. And the comments are already starting to come in. We do this so we can get a little interactive. Bossy Style says, that's a hard no for me. Miss Maddie says, no, I'm out. Who else? Always Hooked is in Florida and says, absolutely, Bill. That's why you need to come hang out in Florida. Yeah, nah, absolutely not. I know them, by the way. There are people in Florida who have been trying to get me to go and hang out. He's a fisherman. So that's a hard pass for me. Kurt Cooks is a chef who we are all familiar with, Black Dragon Takeout. He says, hell no. All right, so I'm looking for some yeses, but so far, no. Carney says, why no? I'm not, sir. They're actually professional people that are paid to do such a job. I applaud them for that. The only shark that I'm messing with is a vacuum cleaner in my house. All right, so let us know what you think. That's the question of the day, social media. We will check in throughout on that one. We'd love to hear from you. You can answer at Bill A. Fox 29 and at Fox 29 Philly on social media platforms. Jumping into the topics at hand. So we told you as we were getting things started that there's this ongoing case. It happened several years ago in Philadelphia. It was just a brutal case that involved torture, it involved drug dealing, it involved murder, and 2 of 3 individuals were arrested. The third has been wanted for years, and the FBI decided to turn it up a notch today. So, Chris here in the studio, do we want to go right to it, or do we want to take a break and then come back and do that? So, they had a press conference today to get everybody caught up on everything that was taking place, and here's the information.
Today we're announcing that Trung Duc Liu, also known as Duck, a fugitive wanted by FBI Philadelphia, is being added to the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives list. Along with that designation comes a reward of up to $1 million for information leading directly to his arrest. Trung Liu is wanted for his alleged role in an August 2014 kidnapping, torture, and murder of 2 brothers here in the city of Philadelphia. These were not abstract crimes. They were acts of brutal, calculated violence carried out against members of this community, and they demand justice. Placement on the 10 most wanted fugitive list is reserved for individuals whose capture represents a top priority for the FBI and its partners, fugitives who pose a serious threat and whose continued freedom is unacceptable. Trung Liu has earned that designation. For more than 75 years, this list has been one of the most powerful law enforcement tools in existence. The vast majority of individuals placed on the list have been captured, many because an ordinary citizen came forward with a tip. A neighbor, a coworker, someone who recognized a face or remembered an offhand remark. Those tips change cases, they bring killers to justice. We are asking for that help today. Someone out there knows where Trung Liu is. Maybe it's a detail that seems insignificant, a location, a name, pattern of behavior. We want to hear it. You can remain completely anonymous, and if your information leads to his arrest, again, as we mentioned, you may be eligible for a reward of up to $1 million. To the victims' families, this announcement is for you. We have not forgotten what was taken from you. We have not moved on. Every resource available to us here, domestically and overseas, remain focused on finding this man. No amount of time, distance, or concealment will change that. Trung Liu will be found, he'll be brought to justice, We will not stop until that day comes. Thank you. With that, I'll turn it over to U.S. Attorney Metcalf for his remarks.
Special Agent in Charge Jacob said this involved a heinous, awful, terrible crime of torture, kidnapping, and murder. Trung Lu has earned his spot on the FBI's 10 most wanted list. This crime took place over a decade ago, but given how terrible it is, it's very tough to forget, and we have not forgotten. The U.S. Attorney's Office successfully prosecuted Trung Lu's co-conspirators who assisted him in this crime. Many of those defendants are serving significant prison sentences, but there is still an empty cell left that we need to fill, and we need the public's help to do so. It is a very serious crime. What is taking place here is predominantly a law enforcement operation, but the U.S. Attorney's Office stands ready to help in any way that we can. And it's not a matter of if, but when Trung Lu is brought to justice, he will be brought to a federal courthouse where he will be held accountable for his crimes. Thank you very much.
Can you tell us a little bit about the victims in this case? And
So I'm not going to elaborate too much on the summary. I would refer the press to prior media releases and the charging documents.
are people believed to be in the area?
Do you want to take that question? Sure.
We do believe that he's fled the country, and we're working with foreign partners to locate him.
Can you talk about that when somebody, the difficulty of bringing someone back here once they leave the United States?
Yeah, sure. Always difficult depending on where the person is fleeing to, depending on the relationship that the U.S. has with the country that we believe him to be in. But thankful that the FBI has partnerships across the globe that we'll leverage to pursue, to locate, apprehend, work with those foreign partners to make sure that, again, that he's arrested and extradited back here.
I understand that some of his co-conspirators have been arrested. Can you describe what you believe Trung Lu's role in this case was?
Yeah, I think coming back to the U.S. Attorney's comments around referring the press back to statements that's described in the indictment, there was previous trials, I think we would refer you back to those documents.
Any other questions?
So it seems like the charging happened in 2019. Is that the last time that we had any knowledge where he was? Do we think he escaped the country before that, after that?
Yes. So indicted in 2019, as you stated, and then once he was indicted, followed by an attempt to locate, that's when we believe that he fled the country.
Can you talk about the pictures too? It looks like they're maybe from different times, at least one on the left and right, and there's tattoos. Are those specific details that you're asking people to look out for?
I don't think there are specific details. I think I'm not able to look at the pictures currently. But yeah, I think what we try and do is capture different images of the person. Obviously, with time, age, appearances may alter, may differ, but what doesn't change perhaps is a tattoo, as I mentioned, some small detail that people remember, particularly if it's a mark that's not going to go anywhere in the form of a tattoo. That could be real helpful for us, for the community, for the public, in providing that tip to us to locate him.
Are you concerned that he's committed other crimes in this time frame, considering the severity of the crime that you're talking about?
We don't have any knowledge of him committing crimes, but certainly given his actions prior, that would be a concern. That's why I referenced in the statement around, this is a fugitive who's earned his place on this list. He represents a continued threat. And while we don't have information about other conduct, we want to work vigorously to get him into custody because we don't know what else he's done, if anything.
I know you said it wasn't a random incident, obviously. Was this sort of gang-related, something along those lines?
Again, in the indictment, in the trials, this is a case that was that had gang ties stemming from a drug dispute between multiple parties, and that's really all I want to share in this forum here.
Can you talk? I saw the Born to Kill gang mentioned. Can you talk a little bit about their presence in this area? Is that something that's still an issue here in Philly, or was this something that was more of an issue 10 years ago, for example?
Yeah, don't have knowledge about presence, the gang here in Philadelphia today. And again, would refer back to the indictment in terms of like their presence in Philadelphia and also extending up to New York as well.
I have a press release that will be coming out shortly that can color more of this information for you. But any other questions? All right, thank you guys so much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
So after nearly 10 years, that individual has been added to the FBI's 10 most wanted list. It was a heinous crime that happened here in our area. Multiple people were killed, tortured, thrown into the water after being weighted down. And 2 of 3 suspects were arrested. 1, 10 years later, still at large. And so the FBI has updated that list. They are now on the top 10 most wanted list with an up to $1 million reward for anyone coming forward with any information. That press conference happened a little bit earlier, but obviously the information's still relevant. The list has been updated and the reward still stands. It is 7:16 here on Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. It was another beautiful day. Scott Williams yesterday told us we might break a record, and Scott, we did, but now we're looking at what comes next.
We did break a record, Bill. We're talking about numbers that soared into the 80s, 83 degrees, the official high temperature this afternoon. We should still be in the low 50s for this time of year. So, of course, smashing the old record, 74 degrees, set back in 2021. But we have a severe weather threat that's ongoing right now off to the west of us, and then eventually moving toward the Delaware Valley as we progress throughout the remainder of your evening. Into the overnight, we're going to watch a potent cold front move toward the area. That will drop the temperatures tomorrow, and it's going to return to winter. We could be looking at some wet snow mixing in by this time tomorrow, so just incredible conditions expected across the area. Take a look at the latest areas underneath a severe thunderstorm watch that has been added for the Philadelphia area, as well as sections of Delaware as you get into South Jersey, north and west suburbs until about 11 o'clock tonight off to the west. Still a tornado watch that includes Harrisburg, Lancaster, Baltimore areas into the Hagerstown vicinity. So we're watching severe thunderstorms moving to the east at about 40 to 50 miles per hour. We do have multiple severe thunderstorms ongoing. So there's a lot with this map. We'll kind of walk you through and show you what's going on. You can see around Baltimore area, that's a severe thunderstorm warning until about 7:30 for the western part of Baltimore, but until 8 o'clock for Baltimore itself. Let's go into Berks County. This is a severe thunderstorm, and this continues until about 7:30. We're talking about some damaging winds, gusts up to 60 miles per hour. Also some reports of some quarter-size hail with this. So some of the places impacted would be Burnville, moving toward 422, 222 as well. So this is moving right toward the city of Reading, and you can see it kind of bowing out. That is certainly indicative of those winds that will gust over 60 miles per hour. So let's zoom in a little closer, some of those areas. Lower Heidelberg, also Stone Ridge in the vicinity of that, moving toward places like Spring eventually. So this is going to be moving toward 222. So just be on the lookout for those gusty winds. Also, there could be some quarter-sized hail with this particular storm as it moves on off to the east at about 40 miles per hour. Let's take you into the Baltimore area. This has a lot of lightning. It's had a history of some rotation as well. This is moving on off to the east at about 55 miles per hour. So this will be moving toward Baltimore. So once again, of course, looking at a severe thunderstorm watch for Philadelphia, north and west suburbs, South Jersey, as well as sections of Delaware, and then off to the west until about 8 o'clock. So about 40 minutes or so, still watching some of those areas for the tornado warning concern. And then it looks like they just issued a tornado warning for the Baltimore area. So this is just happening in real time. So what I'm going to do is just go back to that Baltimore radar in the Baltimore area and show you the latest with that severe thunderstorm that has just turned into, a tornado warning there. This includes the Baltimore area. So as we kind of zoom in, this will go until it looks like 8 o'clock. So this will include some of those Baltimore suburbs, the Towson area, Woodbury, Montebello Park, Pikesville, Randallstown. So this is once again just outside of the Baltimore area. So as we kind of zoom in, showing you this is going to be crossing what, 795, 695, 83, just kind of to the north and west of the Baltimore area. So I'm just going to do the last 30 minutes, and you can kind of see that that's going to be continuing to move on off to the east at about 55 miles per hour. So watching that just to the south of us, we do have that severe thunderstorm watch in effect until 11 o'clock tonight. The main threats for us would be damaging winds gusting over 60, 70 miles per hour, but the tornado threat, it's not zero. It's about a 2 to 5% chance that we see a spin up briefly in our area. Bill, back over to you.
And we'll keep checking in with you and keep a close eye on that. So if anything changes, evolves, expands, we will come back to you immediately so that people will stay informed. Thank you very much, Scott. It's Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. We are live here on the Fox Local app on all streaming platforms. We are now up and running on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all Fox 29. We're in the chat rooms. If you have questions or comments, let's take a break and we will come back and get caught up on more of the news that's going on locally, nationally, and internationally. Stay tuned. Philadelphia Live on Fox Local and all streaming platforms, getting you caught up on everything that's going on. And as I was hosting the 4 o'clock news, there was a developing story about a power outage, about problems along the public transportation line over towards City Hall here in Philadelphia, and that continues to evolve. Our Jen Lee is checking into it. Hey Jen, looks like things are, they getting this all situated?
So I was just told by a SEPTA employee, and he really has been the head person here coordinating where people should go during this shutdown period. 7:16 p.m., SEPTA is back running. Broad Street line, the L. I'm told the trolley is still in a diversion, so you can't catch it here at the 15th Street City Hall station. You have to take the L to 40th in order to catch the trolley. But, you know, earlier, that stairwell that you just saw, it was blocked off with yellow tape because the fire department, which, you know, the trucks and the firefighters are still here standing by, they were all down there responding, as well as SEPTA emergency employees. So around 3 o'clock, SEPTA tells us there was a fire down below at the station. and it affected a transformer, an area where a transformer was. So in order to do the investigation, assess, how they're going to move forward from there, they had to de-energize a bunch of the tracks over multiple streets. So the L was actually not operating here. The Broad Street line was still running, but no one could catch the Broad Street line from this station. So, that's happening at 3 o'clock. And you think about high rush hour times in Philadelphia, the evening commute, it was such a nightmare. So much calmer now. Our photojournalist, Sean Gurton, here with the camera, if he can show this intersection. I mean, it was total mayhem. And there were actually SEPTA bus shuttles that had to show up in order to take people either to 30th Street or to Spring Garden in order for people to catch whatever line they had to get on, the L, as well as even the Broad Street line, as a way to try and get to it. But it was just pure chaos earlier. And actually, you can hear from some people who were really confused because they didn't even realize that the station was shut down when they took the bus. Take a listen.
I usually watch the news.
It's
so
closed.
Are you serious? This is what?
Yes.
So oh my gosh.
Yeah, so a lot of people are upset because they were trying to get to their destinations. A lot of them were just trying to get home after work, after school. So, I mean, you put a mass amount of people who are usually commuting heavily within a few-hour period all in one spot. It's going to lead to some issues and obviously some hot tempers. And we did see a couple fights break out amongst the youth that were also, crowded around this area after school. So we did see police, PPD, they're here. They also intervened in order to make sure everyone, was remaining as safe as possible through the confusion. But I think a lot of people are relieved to be able to come in and out of 15th Street Station here at City Hall. And over this way, I don't know if we were able to show you guys the firefighters. This is after they've been able to resolve what they can, but we'll definitely be following up with Philadelphia Fire Department as well as SEPTA to see, what the issue was. I don't know if they've been able to determine a cause, but thank goodness that, the lines here are running again because there was, some worry that it could potentially last a while. I mean, the morning commute, that would have been terrible. So I think a lot of people are relieved here tonight.
Well, and it's a good thing that they got it under control relatively quickly, Jen, because even the evening commute could have been a bigger mess if they hadn't gotten this kind of at least handled and moving people back and forth. So thank you, Jen. We'll check in with you a little bit more, see more from you on the 10 o'clock a little bit later on. But you can see just from Jen's shot that there's a lot going on out there, a lot of first responders there, everybody trying to make sure it is up and running. All right, so next up, we have Philadelphia Eagles, as well as the rest of the NFL, have entered into free agency. There's a lot of discussion that's going on, and it's the time of year where people start talking about the various contracts that individuals sign, what it means to their individual teams, the impact that it's going to have. And one of Philly's own, homegrown, he was drafted by the Eagles, he put in work. Jordan Davis had a tremendous season last year, and he was rewarded with a history-making contract. Today, he addressed the media and kind of let everybody know what it feels like to put in the hard work and then be rewarded to this level.
Jordan, I know like normally in the NFL you don't get a chance to reflect very much. Have you been able to do that since getting this contract, and what have you been thinking about?
Biggest thing on my mind has just been the journey and how quickly it came. 4 years seems like a very long time, and we are actually doing it. It goes by like that. I remember just coming in here for the first time, being wide-eyed, not knowing anybody, new, unfamiliar place. I walked in with John, and that was the first person I went to when I looked in the media room. I was like, man, let me find my boy John, because this is where it all began for me. He was there when it all started. He was there in the green room when I got drafted, and he's here now and today. And, one day when I'll be ready to call a quiz, I hope that John's a part of it too, because, those people, those connections are important for me. The connections with everybody that I have in this building, outside the building, that's one thing that I've been grateful for and reflecting about, is just the journey, the experience, and the people.
How did the extension come about?
that is a question for my agent. My biggest thing was just being hands off. I didn't want to overload myself or stress myself out about that. I just wanted to be a part of it when it all got agreed to, and but I really don't have a answer for how it came about. I don't know the ins and outs of negotiating contracts, but just happened, and I'm here.
What's the next step for you?
Continue growing. If you're not getting better, you're getting worse in this league. So any way that I can get better with help of Coach Clint and Coach Vic, and, just elevate my game to a different level, a new level. We had a good year last year, but let's make it a great year next year, and let's continue to improve and continue to get better and be a complete player and just, continue to just grow in this system. It's something that I'm comfortable with. I have 2 years under the belt now with the staff and the system. And, with that, the game slows down a lot. And, it's able for players to play free in the system. So just continue on the up and up.
What's it mean to you, Jordan, to have Jalen and Clint here supporting you in this big moment for you?
It means a lot, man. Seeing JC in the hallway upstairs, Coach Clint, Coach Clint, let's not get it misconstrued. Coach Clint is required to be here because he's on the clock right now. So he's really taking a break. But seeing JC, man, brighten up my day. I wasn't expecting it. But, it just shows the importance of just the connection and the love that we have for each other. JC was there when I was in college. I was there when JC first got on the campus. And to be able to continue this and to, just grow as players together, that's something special and that's something to be talked about because, a lot of players don't get that luxury in this league. And, I'm just grateful for that. In this time I have my family. I have my family back there. I have my family up here. Those are my chosen family. This is my family that I was born with, for better or for worse. But, it's just really, like, moments like this, it really shows you, like, how important this is for people and, like, the love that's shown. And I think I'm really grateful for that.
How valuable is it for, the team to kind of like not lock up, but sign, a bunch of you guys who all came in together, keep this core group together for the second contracts and stuff? I mean, what kind of value is that for you?
Extremely. Chemistry is something that can't be taught. It can only be bonded through work, through the time that y'all spend together. I'm sure y'all hear that over the course of the years from me, from Coach Nick and stuff like that, but the connection is truly strong. And when you have a connection with somebody, of course we want to keep everybody that we can. In the league, it's just not unfortunate. It's not, you can't just give out scholarships in the league, but, it's just, I think that's really important though. It's like if you keep your core pieces together, there's no telling how beneficial that is for a team that just got together and a team that hasn't been together and hasn't had that time to develop a connection and spend time with each other and understand each other's play styles and each other, and like the things that make each other's tick. Like it's just everything. It's so many little things that add up to the big things when in terms of connection and chemistry. And I think that's just, if we can, we'd love to keep it.
Jordan, I know you said that it happened quickly, but if you kind of go back to the beginning, everybody, it required some patience.
For sure.
And required some hard work and dedication. And Kenny, what's the overarching message of your journey, do you think? And do you think people relate to it?
Definitely. I see myself, when I first got here, I was talking with Brandon Graham, and we all know BG. We all love BG. It's just the example that he showed, the grit, the determination. I remember he said to me, he said, if you come in here and you work hard and you show that you care and work to improve, then this city will love you. And, that was just something that stuck with me, that resonated with me, because one, BG been here for years. He understands the ins and outs of the city. He understands the ins and outs of this building, the game. And two, it just told me about the type of people that's in Philadelphia, hardworking. But, when you show that you want to take initiative, that you at least trying to get better, they'll be there to root for you. And, over the course of the years, I've seen just the dynamics change and, just the ability to grow and, I see so many things and so many players talk about how when they come back or, when they go somewhere else and they're like, man, like, the fans suck here. Like, the fans, like, they're just mean, they're just obnoxious, blah, 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 whatever they want to say. But, I feel like that's true passion. When you have passion about something, it means that you not quite love-hate relationship, but you just want it to be the best that it could be. And if it's not a standard. And, that's something that I wanted to uphold for myself. I want to make sure that I play to a standard for myself. And, I want to be able to create a legacy. Obviously, it takes a village to raise a child, especially in the league. And I'm fortunate enough to have time to develop and to grow as a person with help of my coaches and players and everybody that's been a part of that locker room. But, when it's time and I had my opportunity and I had the opportunity to show that the work that was being put in the dark was being shown in the light, I think that was kind of just the change and the difference in my trajectory. Whoa.
BG has mentioned passing the torch of leadership to you, and you really stepped into that role last year. I guess when you talk about the legacy that you want to build, how much is the leadership component a part of that?
Definitely. And like I said last year, like, you can be a leader in many different ways. You don't have to have a C on your chest to be a leader. And my idea of leadership is just doing the right thing, doing right by people, and, putting in the effort. You don't ever want to tell somebody to do something that you wouldn't do. And I think, now that I have that experience, I have that years under my belt, I have the difference and the ability to change the way that I play and change the way that I feel about myself and change the way that I think and just everything. Everything's changed. And I have more of a way to connect with players. Like when somebody comes in, they're like, man, I'm just struggling at this time. I'll be there for them because I went through it. Like BG went through it. Like BG was there for me, still is. And I think that's just the beautiful part about the league because at the end of the day, like the time in the league is very finite. Like we're not here forever. Who knows when our last snap is called? And to be able to go through this, to gather this experience and then to eventually pass it on to somebody else for the next person to lead and for the next person to lead the lessons that you gave them, I think that's a real legacy in the league. And, BG has already developed that. BG already has a legacy in Philadelphia and, having that experience and having that ability to take the information that he gave me, take the information that Fletch gave me and to pass it along and to even just live through it today, I think that's true legacy.
After making some strides in your pass rush this past season, where do you want that area of your game to go?
To improve. There's always improvement, even with my run block. And I know, everybody kind of puts the bell on me for anchoring and stopping the run, but, I feel like you can always improve in all phases of this game. And if you can't, then you're not really thinking big. I have so much room to improve. I have so much to grow as a player. I just want to be great by the time it's done, when it's all over and done with. I want to be able to lead. I want to be able to leave my legacy. I want to be able to just be satisfied with the player that I am. And, while I'm in the league, I'll never be satisfied because it's always another place you can reach. But, when it's all over and done with and I take my cleats off for the final time, I wanted to leave something that I'm proud with.
We know about all the work that went into getting to this point. How much personal pride do you feel that you've been able to get here?
It's good. That's something that I don't really stop to think about because you're still in the midst of it all. Fletch told me that they are keeping you for not what you've done, but for what you can do, what you are expected to do. And so, although I do have times of a moment of reflection, those times are very short. I know that it's more work at hand to do. You can never be comfortable. You can't be comfortable. Not in this league, not in this world. You always have to be striving for something greater. And that's where I'm at right now.
When you look back on how you played last year and review how you played, where do you feel like you improved the most or the best and that you feel comfortable with right now as a player?
I would say confidence as a player. Going out there knowing that I have full confidence in myself, my abilities to go out there and be the best player I could be for the team and myself. I think that was a big thing that kind of, I'm not sure we all felt it, just the amount of confidence that I had, just knowing that I had my team behind me, knowing that I was going to go out there and execute, be a good player, and I think that was the biggest thing. I would say that.
How much do you think that confidence was sort of attached to your improved conditioning?
For sure. I think when you're ready at all times, you know, everybody says the same, stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. And I think that's just a simple version of, just the confidence that I'm feeling. I was confident in my abilities. I was confident in my game. I was confident in my conditioning to go out there and execute and to be the player and the caliber of player that I know I am. And I think that's just the baseline for everybody. You can't go out there and, unless you're like I wouldn't even say, because long snappers and kickers is the same program that we do. So all phases of football, you have to be conditioned. You have to be confident in your ability to be on the field as long as you can and to produce and sustain. And so, that's just something that we continue doing. Don't want to lose that.
You lost several starters on defense already this offseason. You did last offseason as well. What kind of impact will that have on the unit? And then how important is it for not only you, but for, like, say, JC or Nolan or Mora to get extended as well?
We're going to miss those guys that went off and found new homes. Obviously, we're happy for them because, they have an opportunity to play the great game that we love. And, but, it's just going to be different. And every year is different. We go into the year with new players, have to learn new people and gel together. But that's the importance of connection. When they come in here, we want to make sure they feel at home. That's something that I take upon myself. That's my job, to make sure that everybody comes in here, they're welcome. They feel like they're part of the defense, they're part of the unit, the offense. It doesn't matter the team. And, like from year to year, we got guys loaded up. It's not a rebuild, it's a reload. And you got young guys coming up. They shown ability to play at a high level. And, their name is going to be called. They're going to be called for a higher calling in this defense. So, we're just excited for those guys on both sides, leaving and coming in. But, at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we wish them well. But, if we play each other, we don't want to, wish them too well, I would say. But
you've spoken in the past about, the top D tackles in the league and like the reverence or the appreciation you might have for them. To be among them now, in terms of, one of the highest paid D tackles in the league, is that something that resonates with you, that you're kind of in that tier? Right now?
For sure. A big passion of mine is just being a premier nose guard. And I know that's a position that's overlooked a lot of times from the casual fan. Not a lot of people know the importance of a true nose tackle, especially when you have the ability in our system to flip from 3-4 to 4-3. Nose guard is a position that doesn't really get that accolades or get a lot of premium for it, because it's kind of like it's a muddy position sometimes. You're gonna get two hands on you in a run, sometimes in the pass. So to be able to go out here and to prove to kids and to show people that, nose guards aren't meant to be overlooked. Like, we have a true place in defenses. I think that's one thing that makes me really proud to be a nose guard, really proud to be, technically I'm a DT/nose guard, but I've been doing it since college. I've been doing it since high school, if we're being real. So to be able to lead the way and pave the way for a different kind of attention on this position, I think that's the biggest pride that I have. Playing this position, I always came in saying, like, 2 on me, somebody's free. And that's the way it's always going to be. That's the mantra of a nose guard, to be real. And for your performance to affect the people behind you, the people beside you, it's a football, it's a team game. But 2 on me and somebody's free, that's something that's very important. And I'll never stop saying that. I'll never shut up about it, because it takes a lot of selflessness to play that position. It takes a lot of heart, a lot of courage to be in the mud when 650 plus 700 pounds pushing on you twice, and you just one person. And I think that's just the beautiful thing about this game, and the biggest thing that I have pride just playing as a nose guard. I think that's one thing I could definitely say for myself.
Thanks, Jordan. Thanks, everyone.
Appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all in spring.
Yes, you will see everybody in spring $78 million richer. Congratulations to Jordan Davis. He had his press conference today, and that's what we were listening to. Good for him. He got the money, commented on the fact that his family was there as well as his teammates. One stood out. Jalen Carter was there, who he played with in college, who was there to kind of witness it all, offer his support. And also, it is believed that Jalen Carter could be up next for the big contract extension. A couple of people in the TikTok chat room are saying he looks amazing. He got that bag. Good for him. $78 million. Oh my God. And so on and so forth. All right, coming out of Jordan Davis in that press conference, right into sports, Scott Grayson, who is ready to jump in. First of all, Scott, your impressions on that. It was impressive. Like, as they say, he secured the bag.
Yeah, you know, and I was there for that today to listen to him speak, and his family was there, as you mentioned. Jalen Carter was there, so it was good to see that support from another teammate there. Jordan Davis didn't know he was going to be there, but one thing you love about Jordan Davis is he does command the room. He's got that kind of ability now, and it will be interesting to see whether or not he gets a C on his jersey. Either way, he's definitely a leader in that locker room, and I think he's emerging as a leader on that defensive line, and you know, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch him see in this next chapter of his career how much he can hopefully continue to grow.
So from that, and the Eagles are still wheeling and dealing. We've got Reek Woolen. We talked a little bit about that last night. Signed a couple tight ends, same thing. Now we play the waiting game. Do you think that they're in on Max Crosby, or the rumors about Viking edge rusher, they're talking to them as well?
You know, if we've learned anything about Howie Roseman, it's that he's at least going to make a call, and I would imagine that he has made a call on both players, if not multiple calls. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's playing them both off each other a little bit. I mean, you know, the Raiders were going to get 2 first-round picks from the Ravens for Max Crosby. I don't think you can get that now. Everybody out in the league knows that you need to get rid of him. You've brought in all these other players, including Nakobe Dean, who are going to hit some of that money that Max Crosby would have to be paid from. So their salary cap is threatened. I just think you can get him for less, and I think if Howie Roseman likes the price, it'll be Max Crosby. If not, then he's definitely working on on the player from the Vikings as well, who's also a defensive star that could be as well. So it's going to be interesting to see which way they pivot with both of them. And as for the tight end situation, it did come out here a couple hours ago, Bill, that Dallas Goedert's contract has not yet been voided. The NFL is allowing them to push that to Friday. The fact that happened, I think, is a really big sign that the Eagles are trying to get him back here. So potentially Dallas Goedert back for at least another year.
Oh, that's good news. Hopefully they can go ahead and work that out. All right, Scott, so yesterday, the day before, we're excited about the World Baseball Classic. We're talking about this whole lineup of power hitters and stars. The USA team is unstoppable, and it's possible that their manager, their coach, is the person who stopped them.
Yeah, this is unbelievable to me at the highest level of baseball, that you're not aware whether you've already clinched a spot or not, and you think you did. You've got guys celebrating. The fact that the players, the story about them hanging out in the clubhouse and just celebrating and kind of hanging out together the night before the game against Italy really makes me believe that he had told them they clinched. He put out a lineup there that wasn't his best lineup. He wasn't, really being efficient with his bullpen to try to keep or look like you were trying to win the game. This is egregious. I mean, it's major malpractice, in my opinion. And the fact that the United States could be in a couple hours here out of the World Baseball Classic, that lineup, all that talent, those pitchers, those hitters, it's just unreal that could be the case. Now, I will say, when I came in here, we were talking about it earlier today too. Aaron Nola, the good Aaron Nola, is really firing through 2 innings. He's held, Mexico scoreless, 26 pitches. He's limited. He can only go up to 65 pitches in the first round. So he's being efficient with his pitching. He's keeping Mexico off the board. And it was, I believe, 1-0 Italy when I came in here. So right now, that's what you're watching. You want Italy to win. That would allow the U.S. to automatically get in. If Italy loses, you need Mexico to score 5 or more runs. So the way we were spinning it in the sports department back there just a few minutes ago was root for Italy to get to 4 runs, and then they should really be in, because Mexico would have to score 5 to win.
All right. All right, then that's the plan. And you kind of got Aaron Nola. That is what he is. He's either great and lights out, or he gets blown up. And in this circumstance, either of those works for us as long as he doesn't come in between.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, he's like I said, he looks good. His velocity is 94 miles an hour on his fastball right now. His curveball looked really good. His two-seam even was moving at 91. Those are velocities he doesn't really hit till mid-season. So to see that from him in March, it could be a really good sign for the Phillies starting rotation.
Was posted because this is already a big story. It could end up being even bigger depending on what happens with this game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be certainly good drama. And if the U.S. doesn't win, doesn't get in, the reaction is going to be unreal.
Dude, that's going to be really hard to come back from.
Yeah, it's going to be. Yeah, I mean, and not only that, it's just embarrassing that all these stars from this country weren't able to get to the next round, largely because your manager got in the way.
Right, you're drinking and hanging out and partying. That's insane. All right, keep us posted. Scott Grayson, thank you very much.
You got it.
Let's take a quick break. This is Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. When we come back, we'll find out what's going on with trending topics. We'll check in with our question of the day. Would you rescue the shark? It's going viral. People walking on the beach, they show up next to a pretty big great white shark. They panic, and then they're faced with the question, do I go in the water and help the great white shark? Would you? It's our question of the day. You can answer on all Fox 29 social media platforms, as well as mine, Bill A. Fox 29. We'll be right back in just a second. Stay tuned. 7:53, Philadelphia Live on Fox Local, all streaming platforms. You can jump in on the conversation, jump in the chat rooms, send us messages, you name it, or just take us with you with the Fox Local app or any of the Fox 29 social media. So what are you searching for? What are the topics that are dominating discussion? Cam Scrivens has stepped up with Cam's trending topics. Hey, Cam.
Hey, so basically yesterday we had that big story on the Fishtown Girl Scouts troop that they're looking for, to fulfill their cookies goal, their sales goal. And so that is our top story on the web right now and was overnight. People are in support of the Girl Scouts, which is great to see and great news, but they are still behind on their cookie sales. So if you go to fox29.com, we have a link at the bottom of the article to their Facebook page where you can go, you can donate, or you can go ahead and buy those boxes of cookies for them. It's hard to see, where they are on the meter, but they have 4,000 more boxes to sell. So go ahead and click the link and do what you can to help and support the Girl Scouts if you so choose. Another story that I have to get to that's trending both on fox29.com and nationally, our Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, he is trending and facing some backlash over a nearly $7 million lobster spree that news came out today. According to a government watchdog report, reveals that the Pentagon spent nearly $6.9 million on lobsters at the end of the year of 2025, so in September. And the list goes on. So it's a staggering $93.4 billion splurge that happened in September of 2025. $6.9 million for the lobster, $15.1 million on ribeye steaks, $2 million on Alaskan king crab, and the list goes on. I'm looking at some of the comments on social media. A lot of people are saying, listen, like our military, they gotta eat. But other people are saying that that is just ridiculous. So go ahead and go to fox29.com to check out that full story, and you can also go to our social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and you can check that out as well.
Yeah, so two things. One, if I had to guess, it is not our rank and file military that was eating all that lobster and steak and what have you. But two, I guess in full understanding, I think part of the problem is a lot of different government entities have this use it or lose it budget philosophy. So if you're up towards the end of the budget year, the fiscal year, and you have money there, if you don't use that money, then going into the next year, it gets cut from your budget.
That's right.
So this was just the things that it appears that they spent it on raise a lot of red flags. But the concept of individual departments burning money at the end of a budget season, that's really not that unusual. And that is something else that perhaps needs to be looked into really across government in general.
Sure. Yeah, that makes a great point. I mean, nearly $140,000 in donuts, $124,000 on ice cream machines. Could that money have gone toward other things? Maybe, but that was up to Pete Hegseth there. So more of those details again on fox29.com.
Yeah, it certainly leads to a lot of questions. And you said that the Girl Scout cookies, the link is up on the website so people can go ahead and buy more of the 4,000 boxes that are still left.
That's right. You go to the bottom of the article that you guys see there, fox29.com. There's a little section on what you can do, and the link to their Facebook page is there, and that's where you can go ahead and find more information on how to donate or just go ahead and buy those boxes of cookies.
Yeah, all 4,000.
All
go
4,000.
ahead. Somebody out there who is feeling especially generous, go ahead and knock that out of the park. Cam, you didn't answer our social media question of the day. I don't know if Adam can pull that video back up with the shark. People walking along the beach. They see this giant shark flopping around in the water. This happened in Florida recently. They go out into the water to help the shark to freedom. Would you?
You know what? Kudos to them. But there's no way I'm going out to help that shark. I feel like survival of the fittest, natural selection, Charles Darwin, that shark will have to kind of figure it out on its own, or I'll sit there and I'll call Shark Patrol or whoever to come out and help the shark. But there's no way you will see me out there helping a shark.
You said Shark Patrol.
Yeah.
Whoever you got to call.
Whoever you got to call.
Call somebody to help them out. That's where most of the responses are. So people can go to Fox29 Instagram, TikTok page. The question is posted. My Bill A. Fox29 page. The overwhelming majority of people are like, look, love your shark, but I'm not getting out there. And I'm not trying to be the person who ends up on the news because I tried to help the shark and then the thing bites me.
I got limbs missing.
Right. And it's like, you knew I was a shark when you freed me.
Maybe she was a shark in her other life, but she just felt like a calling that she had to go help the shark.
And it worked.
Maybe.
I mean, in her defense, it worked. Like apparently the
did.
shark got free and nobody got bit.
It's got to be
least
like
there.
a 1 in a million chance of that happening and her surviving that. But kudos to them.
Now we're going to hear reports about somebody like 2 beaches down who had a run-in with that shark.
They're like, if she can do it, we can do it.
I know, right? All right, Cam, thank you very much.
You're
we'll
welcome,
check in
Bill.
with you in just a little bit. Next up, our Shawnette Wilson is out on a story that we were looking into a little bit earlier on. I talked to Shawnette a little bit earlier. Are we going to her, Chris, or are we going to show the video? So there was a story of a young woman, a child really, who lost everything. Her family lost everything in a fire. She lost her favorite dollhouse. She lost all of her belongings and was in a really tough emotional, mental, and physical state. This is video of her. It was just a struggle. So the family got together, put out the call on social media, and asked everyone to come together and see what they could do to support her. The support was overwhelming. So we're sitting there showing the video of what took place there. I got a chance to talk to Shawnette earlier as this was all happening in real time. The young lady's name is Hope, and they put together a parade for hope. Santa Claus showed up, as you can see. There was a car parade, so people throughout the neighborhood all came together. They all stepped up. The little girl kept running away and hiding from the camera because she was just overwhelmed, crying, hugging people, and at one point, I don't know if we just got a chance to show it, but her prized possession as a young child was this dollhouse that she had. The dollhouse had been destroyed, obviously, in the fire, but one of the last things that Santa did was to pull out this giant dollhouse for this little girl, and she just lost it. You know, she was completely overwhelmed by all of that. It was cool. It was a parade for hope. Happened a little bit earlier today, and we're gonna talk to Shawnette about that. I'm looking off to the team that is here in the studio with me. We're gonna talk to Shawnette about that in just a little bit. But there was a fire, Dorrance Street, as you can see on the screen, and this little girl lost everything, and the family, the community all came together to help her. So it was a heartwarming story, and we're gonna talk to Shawnette shortly. But first, let's take a break, and we will come back. It's Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. We're gonna find out a little bit about the Hope Parade coming up in just a minute. Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. So I was just telling you about the Hope Parade. It was a story that we were covering live earlier with our Shawnette Wilson. Shawnette was out there. She's still giving us the updates on everything that took place. Shawnette, we just showed some of the video. We were on with you live when it happened. You were there. Was it as heartwarming being there as it appeared in the video?
Oh, you know, I'm a crybaby when it comes to kids, especially little girls, right? So yeah, to me, it certainly was heartwarming. And I think the majority of the people who were there were misty-eyed, right? Because they were just happy to see a smile on this little girl's face. So, Bill, appreciating that you started with the positive, let's get the bad stuff out of the way, right? So we can leave this segment on a good note. I'm right now live in Bristol on Dorrance Street, and behind me, this is where the fire happened. On Monday, March 2nd, our coworker Jeff Skaversky was out here then covering this fire, in which at that time officials had said that there were at least 5 homes that were affected, including a duplex which was completely destroyed. We also sadly had learned that night that a 75-year-old woman lost her life in this fire. So there are a lot of families, as I just said, who are affected by this. Just even now starting the process to rebuild, finding a place to live. And so that is kind of what started this whole thing. Today, what happened is that a little girl whose family lost everything in a fire here on the street was surprised by the community with donations, toys, gifts. Do you still have me, Bill?
Yes, we've got you, and we're showing your video.
Okay. Okay. We were hearing a little bit of feedback here, so I wasn't sure. But so 7-year-old Hope, as you mentioned, her family lost everything. One of the families affected by this fire. And as you can imagine, I said this to you earlier, Bill, that, you know, it falls on the adults, obviously, to handle where we're going to live. We need clothes. We need all these things to get back on our feet. But as you can imagine, a 7-year-old girl is devastated over the fact that, you know, she has lost all of the things that make her happy, her toys, everything she got for Christmas. And also to a little girl, a Barbie dream house is a huge, ginormous thing to have. So there's a business in a neighboring town in Croydon called Giovanni's Delicious Pickle. The owner actually heard about this. She said that Hope's family, they've been customers of hers for years, and she found out what happened and decided, I want to help. I want to help. She goes on Facebook and she says, listen, everybody, if we donate money, we can come up with enough to get gifts and replace this Barbie dollhouse, and let's do a parade of hope for Hope. Well, the community responded, and that is the result of what you're seeing that happened earlier this evening. They came together. Santa came back from the North Pole in 80-degree weather today to join in this car caravan parade to present Hope with gifts and also her dream house. I did talk with that business owner who had this whole idea to do this thing, and also Hope's grandmother, who she affectionately calls Mum Mum. Here's what they both told me earlier today.
It's overwhelming and just so nice how everyone came together and how kind people are, and we're very appreciative.
What do you hope that Hope and her family take away from this?
I hope that she realizes how loved she is and how much, you know, the disaster that she had and how positive that she's been about the whole situation. The community loves her and came together and saved Christmas in March.
That's exactly what they did. I mean, you saw all those people come out. They got in their cars. They held up signs that said, "Hi, Hope. We love you, Hope." And it was really just a huge community effort born from an idea from a local business owner who said, let's do something about this. Bill, here's the other part, right? So that business, Gabrielle Favaroso, I think is the owner's name, who I spoke to earlier. Her business has actually been closed for over a month now because she says a unit above her store had a pipe that burst and then it flooded her business. So she's not even able to open and function right now. And with all that she's going through, she decided, hey, we thought we lost everything, but we hear what happened with this family and we want to do something for this little girl. She jumps in to help in the midst of all this that her business is going through. And Santa Scott, also suffered a fire recently. So I don't know, just a lot of good people dealing with a lot of loss that came together to help someone else. I mean, just big shout out, big ups, big salute to this whole community that came out to help this family.
Well, yeah. I mean, and the picture behind you, the house behind you shows you how devastating all this was, and tragedy and people needing to come together. But seeing them actually do it just makes you feel good. And it shows you that there are selfless people, even in dealing with their own issues, that are stepping up, helping other people.
Absolutely. And so, you know, we focus kind of on this parade of hope for Hope today to get her some joy so she can kind of like put this behind her. Her mom actually said that they just got a place today to stay, and furniture is being donated tomorrow. So things are looking up for them. I also want to point out that that business owner says that there is a benefit spaghetti dinner fundraiser that's being held this coming weekend, and that is going to raise money for all of the families, not just Hope's family, but all of the families who, you know, lost their homes and belongings in this fire. So we are going to have that information on our website. Be sure to check within the hour. I know the Bristol Elks are hosting it. And another local business is also sponsoring it. So that's going to be Sunday, I believe. But go to fox29.com and make sure, if you can, that you can get out there and support. It's going to be a dinner. You can dine in or you can take food to go. There's going to be raffles, giveaways. And so, again, just to help all of those families that were affected.
It renews your faith in people stepping up and doing things to help your neighbor. And so we'll make sure that information's up on fox29.com. Thank you, Shawnette. And thank you for bringing it to us live earlier. You had the entire newsroom and everyone watching fighting back tears.
Listen, you have a packed show with this show here, so I was fighting for my right to get in because, you know, when they're doing a parade, and they only did it like around the block, you know, they didn't want to, you know, disrupt traffic and have this little girl waiting so long. So there was like a quick moment that I was like, get us in there, and y'all made it happen. So that business owner was really happy that we were able to go on, appreciative that we showed up for this and just gave some good publicity and some good news out of something, Bill, that, as you mentioned, was a horrible thing to happen, but hopefully is a first step in the right direction for Hope's family and all these other families who are going to need to rebuild from the bottom.
Well, the community and you made it happen. We were just happy to be able to turn on the camera so that everybody could see it happening. But thank you, Shawnette. We appreciate it always.
All right.
We'll talk to you soon. And you'll see more from Shawnette in the 10 o'clock news. It really was just an amazing thing to be able to go live. And that's the benefit of what we're doing here live 24 hours a day. When those types of things are happening, you just go right to it to share that information. It's important, it's empowering, it's uplifting. And we were happy to bring it to you. Let's take a break and we'll get right back to it. There was yet another spirited discussion going on the floor of the House and Senate in Washington, D.C. today, talking about these delays at the airport, what's going on with DHS funding, TSA funding, what are they going to do about it? We'll share that with you when we come back. Give us 2 minutes. Philadelphia Live on Fox Local, along with sharing all of the news with you. As you can see, our social media trackers and tickers, that's from my YouTube page, that's from my TikTok page at Bill A. Fox 29, also on Instagram, Bill A. Fox 29. But we're streaming live on the Fox 29 Philly TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook pages. We're also checking in on your comments. And our question of the day comes from a viral news story out of Florida, where there was a woman who was taking a walk along the beach. She comes upon a pretty big great white shark that has beached itself there and starts asking people for help to try to get this shark out into the water. And you can see it was a pretty big shark. You can also see it was not that deep out into the water, but they worked on it for quite some time and got the shark free. So our question of the day on social media was whether or not you would step up. And here are some of the responses that we've been getting so far from people. Honeychild says, sorry shark, I can't swim. I'd have to call the shark police to try to help you out. Gino Thorne, 100% I'd help, just very cautiously, of course. Enjoy your evening and stay safe. Tucker Graham says, they're trying to be the Last Supper. That shark has no idea what's going on. That could be a problem for them. It continues on. No, and I love the ocean, but I'm going to leave the wildlife alone. You're not equipped nor a professional to deal with those matters. Someone else says, no, sharks have attacked people in very shallow water. When it comes to apex predators, I believe nature should take its course unless it involves them preying on me. And then one more says, the question is, would it help me if the situation were reversed, drowning in the water? I'm guessing it would eat me. So I'm taking that as a no vote. Anyway, you could jump in, chime in. The comments continue to flow in, with most people saying no, but a handful of people saying yes, they would get out there and help the shark. As I pointed out, there was a hearing earlier today. It's been this ongoing debate about what to do with the funding, long lines at airports, security gates facing troubles, not funding DHS. And the House and Senate got back to it, debating it on the floor today.
Just want to pick up where my colleague from New Jersey left off, which is the proposal that was put forward by the senator from Washington, Senator Murray, which is to have a vote today to make sure that we fully fund TSA, that we fully fund FEMA, and that we fully fund the Coast Guard. I've heard a couple times just on this floor from our Republican colleagues that Democrats are blocking funding for TSA and FEMA and the Coast Guard. That simply isn't true. In fact, I'm looking at a post. I heard a couple mentions of politics as part of this conversation. Just a few days ago, the Senate Republican post said, Democrats are forcing 100,000 plus federal employees to work without pay. Well, this wasn't true then, because just last week, Senator Murray also proposed that we fully fund TSA and FEMA and the Coast Guard. It wasn't true when they posted it, and it's not true today. In fact, what we're doing today is giving our Republican colleagues another chance to actually pay these federal employees. Now, I don't think anybody is confused about what's happening here, and that is that the American people understand that Trump's ICE operation is out of control. It is violating the constitutional due process of people throughout the country. It is violating the First Amendment rights of people throughout the country, including the right to peacefully protest. We all recall, like it was yesterday, the fact that DHS agents shot and killed 2 American citizens in Minneapolis, Renee Good, and Alex Preddy. And then the Secretary of Homeland Security, the former Secretary of Homeland Security, turned around and called them domestic terrorists, called the victims of those shootings domestic terrorists. And from the very start, the Trump administration has lied to the American people about the targets of the ICE operation. And I heard it again on the floor of the Senate here today. They said they were going to go after the worst of the worst, people who are here illegally and posed a threat to public safety in our communities. That would have been acceptable, but that is not what they're doing in the overwhelming number of these cases. In Maryland, they swept up a pastor from the Eastern Shore. They arrested and imprisoned and then deported a small businesswoman from Hagerstown. She'd been here 20 years, Vietnamese-American woman, beloved in her community, had a nail salon business. And the list goes on and on and on. In fact, Republicans are beginning to recognize that this is completely unpopular with the American people. Yesterday, here are two headlines. One is in the Washington Post. White House tells House GOP to avoid mass deportation talk ahead of midterms. Here's another headline. Axios, White House tells House Republicans to stop talking about mass deportations. Well, they want Republicans to stop talking about mass deportations, but they're not actually doing anything to stop mass deportations. And what Democrats have said is we want meaningful changes at ICE before we provide any additional funding. I've been clear, I won't support one more penny for Trump's lawless ICE operation. And yet, we're not getting any meaningful response from the White House with respect to the necessary reforms. And so that's why we have said, let's not hold hostage TSA. Let's not hold hostage FEMA. Let's not hold hostage the Coast Guard. Let's make sure they can continue to operate. Let's make sure that those federal employees can get paid for the work that they're doing. I mean, I'm looking again at this post, the social media post that Republican senators put out, Senate Republicans. It's got all these headlines from around the country. Partial government shutdown, spring break travel leads to hours-long TSA lines at Hobby Airport. And they go on and on. We're saying we can end this. We could end it today. But Republicans are blocking. I just want to close with this point, and it's been made by Senator from Washington, Senator Murray, and others. When Republicans passed what they call their big, beautiful bill, which was beautiful if you're a billionaire because you got big tax cuts. They cut Medicaid, they cut other health programs, cut food programs. But as part of that bill, they increased the ICE budget by over 7 times its annual amount. And they increased the Customs and Border Patrol budget by about double its annual amount. So that's why, as we speak, ICE agents are being paid. As we speak, Customs and Border Patrol agents are being paid out of those accounts. You know who's not being paid? TSA. You know who's not being paid? FEMA. You know who's not being paid? Coast Guard. Do you know what the Democratic proposal would do that's offered by Senator Murray? Pay all those people so they can do the work that they need to do on behalf of the American people and get paid for the good work that they do. That's what our proposal does. It does what Senate Republicans claim on their social media posts that they want to do, that they want to pay these 100,000 federal employees. But today, through their votes and their actions, they're actually saying the opposite. They're saying they want to continue to deny funding for those particular agencies because we won't give ICE and its lawless operations a blank check. And we're not going to give ICE a blank check. The American people don't want us to give a blank check to ICE. But for goodness sakes, let's not penalize folks at TSA and FEMA and the Coast Guard, and let's not penalize the American people by hampering those agencies and preventing them from fully doing their good work on behalf of the country. I yield the floor.
So that was one of the comments that happened a little bit earlier today as the Senate and House debate what to do with the budget as it relates to DHS, TSA, you heard FEMA, Coast Guard, ICE, immigration, all of those things. that was a Democrat perspective. We will come back. Republican legislators, obviously had their own perspective as well, differs from that one, and we will play that momentarily, so just stay with us. But we want to get caught up on what's going on. Scott has been tracking some pretty severe weather throughout the area, and it's crazy, Scott, because it's on the heels of another record-breaking warm day.
High temperatures yesterday were in the 80s. Today, another record in the 80s. It's more typical of June. We're talking about numbers 30 degrees above average. But, you know, everything like that this time of year, it comes at a cost, and we're paying it because we're looking at severe weather moving in right now from the west. Most of the area under a severe thunderstorm watch until about 11 o'clock tonight. That does exclude Cape May County as well as extreme South Delaware, Sussex County not included, but we're watching some severe thunderstorms north and west up the northeast extension right now, as well as moving across the eastern shore of Maryland into sections of Newcastle County and northern Kent County at this hour, producing potential winds gusting over 60 miles per hour. So here's the particulars on those severe thunderstorms until about 8:30. Sections of Newcastle County in Delaware, sections of Kent County as well. These are moving on off to the east at about 60 miles per hour. They have a history of 60 mile per hour winds as well as some small penny-sized hail with them. So we'll kind of zoom in a little closer, and of course looking around the Newark, Delaware, looking at some of those downpours right along I-95 moving toward the Christiana Mall. So just be mindful of some of the heavy rain, some gusty winds, some lightning. Lauren Farms moving toward the Lorewood Grove area. So once again, these are moving on off to the east, 60 miles per hour, moving toward Christiana in the next couple of minutes. Middletown, Delaware arriving in your location by about 8:32. Crossing the Delaware Bay, moving toward places like Pennsville and Salem shortly after about 8:40, moving toward the Salem vicinity. So once again, lots of lightning with this, and the main player right now would be some of those winds gusting over 60 miles per hour. Then we take you up the northeast extension, moving into sections of Bucks County, Montgomery County, also into portions of Allentown just south of there. This is also severe thunderstorm warning here until about 9 o'clock. Some of the areas that could be looking at some of these winds gusting here to about 60 miles per hour. Upper Hanover, Green Lane, crossing the northeast extension around places like Richland as you get toward lower Milford. Just kind of looking at gusty winds with this particular cell. So once again, you can see most of the area under that severe thunderstorm watch until 11 o'clock tonight. We've lost the daytime heating, so any of these storms will start to weaken over the next hour or so. That is the good news. So watching a couple of severe thunderstorms. Those are the yellow golden colors far north and west, and then also into sections of Delaware. So until about 11 o'clock, the highest risk on that scale would be for some damaging winds gusting over 60 miles per hour. Then next up, we're talking about some small hail, low threat for flash flooding, as well as for a brief spin up of a tornado. Low, but not no. I mean, we're talking about a 2% chance, but it could still happen, folks out there. So just be weather aware over the next several hours, watching these storms move across the I-95 corridor into sections of South Jersey. And then as we get toward tomorrow, the actual cold front, that's going to be moving through, Bill. And we're talking about temperatures tomorrow evening by this time in the 30s. And this system, as it moves out to sea, could produce a little bit of wet snow on the back end of it. But there's your record for today, 83 degrees, breaking the old record, 74 degrees set back in 2021. And look at the temperatures for tomorrow. So we start with the spring-like feel. You know, it's kind of muggy. We're looking at some showers moving in. Cold air rushes in, changing things over to a little bit of wet snow tomorrow afternoon, with temperatures dropping into the 30s. So, I mean, it's bizarre, but it is also March.
Yeah, and it's a little crazy. I'm listening, you say wet snow. When I was walking around today, just chilling, no jacket on, walked after the 4 o'clock news to go pick up some dinner and just took a nice walk. It's beautiful outside, people sitting outside, eating at all of the restaurants and whatnot, and now we're back to snow.
Yeah, I mean, It'll be interesting to see folks' reactions. We probably should do like an MOS tomorrow with, seeing what people are saying. But we might have to mute a lot of that out, Bill. we might have to mute it out.
yeah, we probably get a lot of not safe for TV type language. I wonder, maybe we can do it on the stream. I don't know. We shall see. All right, Scott, thank you. We will check in just a little bit. And for those who don't know, MOS, the term in the media, man on the street. So you go out there, you talk to people, you get the information. We may or may not do that after back-to-back days in the 80s and then the possibility of some light snow tomorrow. That's crazy talk. But let's take a break. It's Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. We'll be right back. Find out what's trending, what all of you are searching for. Our web team, Cam's trending topics, coming up in just a second. .32 on Philadelphia Live on Fox Local and all streaming platforms. That means Fox 29, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. The chat is going on the Fox 29 TikTok page as well as on YouTube. And our question of the day on social media on both the Fox 29 pages and my personal pages at Bill A. Fox 29 on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Bill Anderson on TV, on YouTube. Always eager to hear from you. And what is it that you are eager to talk about? What are you searching? What are you getting into? Cam Scrivens with Cam's trending topics and everything that the web is getting into. Cam's back. Good evening.
Hey. So nothing too much has changed on the fox29.com website as far as what you guys are looking at. But something did come and catch my eye nationally. Jake Paul is trending, and I was like, oh, is there another fight that's happening? But no. So President Trump, he was in Kentucky for a rally, and he has endorsed boxer and podcaster Jake Paul for political office, though he's not running for anything at the moment. President Trump said, quote, "I'm going to make a prediction that you will be in the not too distant future running for political office. You have my complete and total endorsement," end quote. So Jake Paul, he had joined the president on stage and encouraged this moment, and it was a cool moment between the two of them. But that is why Jake Paul is trending nationally right now. So maybe he'll run for office. Who knows?
He endorsed him for what?
Nothing. He just says for the future. So if Jake
you have my future endorsement for whatever it is that you decide to do. What if he decides to run against him?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if the president would be down for that, but he said you have my complete and total endorsement.
I'm sitting here looking up while you're saying it, background information. So Jake Paul is from Ohio, but I think he lives in Puerto Rico.
He does.
So that will be interesting. Figure out what he's gonna run for. Whatever.
Yeah, and the rally was in Kentucky, so a lot of moving pieces there.
He would not be the first politician to move locations to run in an area where they want to run.
That's true. And now we're seeing a lot of searches. It's like, what political office does Jake Paul consider running for endorsement? So we'll have a lot of different breakouts for this angle, but it's quite interesting.
Yes, this would be a bad movie if it wasn't true. But okay, like good luck. Jake Paul actually has a really cool event coming up that they are promoting, Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano. So let's stick to that.
He and his brother, they are always trending, and today I really thought there was another fight, but no, it was this endorsement.
Listen, you don't have to like them. They're marketing geniuses. Like, they know how to keep their names out there in front of the public eye and turn it into huge amounts of money.
This is true.
So I don't know. Cam, normally at this time on Wednesday nights, previously it would be the ladies' room.
Yes.
And so that has changed a little bit because this show is now live, but the ladies' room is still being done. It's still going on. It's on demand. Like, tell people what to expect.
Yes. So now you can watch the ladies' room on Saturdays at 7 a.m. on Fox 29. But, you know, you are already on the Fox Local app right now, and we are available to stream and watch there. So any of our previous episodes, you can go ahead and watch that. Our upcoming episode that will air on Saturday on Fox 29 will be available on Monday on the app. So you can go ahead and watch the ladies' room. My lovely co-hosts, Sheba Russell and Kathy Orr. We just have the best time talking women and women empowerment, a lot of lifestyle topics, pop culture. There's a lot that we get to cover, and it's just women-centric, so it's awesome.
And for people wondering, part of the reason behind this is we are doing live news and updates and things now, but people were watching the ladies' room. They wanted to watch the ladies' room and several other of our original shows, but they wanted to do it on their own time when they wanted to watch it. Now it's there, it's on demand. You can sit down and watch it now.
That's right, and I think our
app.
show, The Ladies' Room in particular, it's such a good one where if you're just getting ready, if you're getting ready for a date night or for work, or, you know, you're dealing with the kids in the morning on Saturday, there's just so many great ways to watch us. You could just leave us on in the background, put on the app, and have a key with us.
Absolutely. There's a lot of times there's a lot of great topics, so people are going to want to, I don't know, grab a glass of wine, their people, and sit around and watch the ladies' room and have the conversations that you guys are having.
So that
is now on demand, at your fingertips, on the Fox Local app, all streaming platforms, the ladies' room.
Yes.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, Bill.
All right, thanks, Cam. The ladies' room and several other of our shows. There are several shows that were airing on Fox Local at 7 o'clock p.m. that now have made that same change, including my own show, The Pulse, that aired Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock on Fox 29 and Fox Local. It is now on demand. It's right there on your fingertips or at your fingertips. 160 some odd episodes with some really interesting and cool people. So just go check it out. It's another reason to download the app and all of the Fox streaming platforms. You can watch these things whenever you want to. Are we taking a break or are we going to sports, Chris?
Take a break.
Let's take a quick break and then we will come back. We've got an update on this World Baseball Classic, all the drama that is going on. It looks like they might skate by. They might figure out a way to advance to the next round. Looks like USA might get lucky after their coach made a monumental blunder. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Stay tuned. Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. Good evening to everyone. I'm Bill Anderson. We continue to keep you updated. Our Fox Local app, as well as the streaming platforms, all live. When you see me look down, guys, the reason that you're seeing that is because I am also trying to keep track of the comments that people are making on social media, getting your feedback, the things that you would like us to present, the information that you're looking for. I'm monitoring it. Our web team is monitoring it, so we can bring you the information you want up to the second. Next up, it's sports. Marcus has stepped up to the camera. And Marcus, when the night started, the USA baseball team in the World Baseball Classic was in the midst of a potential huge blunder. It looks like, they're not out of the woods yet, but it looks like Aaron Nola stepped up and maybe helped save the day.
Yeah, I mean, Nola was lights out today. Didn't allow any runs for Italy, and Italy currently is up 6-0. And now, if that holds, the U.S. will advance to the next round, because in entering today, it was a scenario where if Italy won or if Mexico had scored 5 or more runs, the U.S. would advance. If Mexico had won and scored less than 4, then the U.S. would be eliminated. So right now, the way it's trending, U.S. are in. Now, the interesting thing is that I was looking at a report. If this holds, it would be USA versus Canada on Friday, and between the 4 nations, as well as, I mean, the World Baseball Classic and even the Olympics, we're so used to hearing US versus Canada, we might be getting another USA versus Canada matchup, this time in the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, that will be interesting. So it is, with all of the math and craziness.
Yes.
So we needed either Italy to win or Mexico to win and score more than 5 runs. So right now, either way, like if they're going to win the game, they're going to have to score more than 5 runs. So
yes,
U.S. is in.
So here's the thing. I won't go too deep into the weeds with it. It was 5 runs in a 9-inning game. So based off of what the broadcast was saying, there is a runs allowed average. So that's where there's a tiny chance if it's 6-6 and it goes into let's just say the 18th or 19th inning, that average shrinks to where that still could be affected. So it's not mathematically for certain. It's just it would have to be a lottery's winning 3 times in a row kind of chance for U.S. to be eliminated at this point.
Right. Barring something really crazy
exactly.
happening, then they should advance. Do you think this has, now that it looks like it might turn out, to their benefit, does this have a lasting impact? Because that was really bad by their manager.
It was, and after the game, he did retract his statements and whatnot, to where it's going to be interesting. I think, especially now that they kind of got that wake-up call, oh crap, we actually could have been eliminated, to, all right, guys, we're in now. Let's take full advantage of this. Let's not take this for granted. I think that the U.S. could take advantage of this, could see this as a wake-up call, to where some of their bats, Bryce Harper, could start waking up. Their pitching could improve a little bit. So I think this actually could help the team now that they realize they were in jeopardy and now are in. I don't think they're going to just think, oh, we got this now.
Listen, Harper and Schwarber should buy their teammate Nola something. Do something.
When they meet back up in Clearwater, I'm sure there's going to be some thank yous going around.
You're like, Nola, we got you. You never have to buy a drink again as long as you're part of our team. Okay, so we also saw Jordan Davis, the big press conference and everything. It was interesting that Jalen Carter was there. That just supporting his teammate, or also maybe a little inspiration because he could be next?
I think, honestly, I could see both. I think more because, they're both Georgia Bulldogs, so they're very close-knit friends. So I think that it was more just to show support for a fellow brethren. But I'm sure that there's a little inkling in Jalen Carter's mind that's saying, hey, Howie, what's going on with me? You know, clearly he's next. I mean, the Eagles, they've signed some key pieces over the last couple days, which we've talked about. And part of why it wasn't anything explosive is because Howie is currently working on the deal with Jalen Carter's contract. So I'm sure we're getting a little bit closer to a decision with that. But I'm sure Jalen Carter was there thinking like, all right, like good for you, buddy, but I'll be up on that podium soon.
Listen, Marcus, when you get your 3-year, $78 million contract, I'm going to be right there in the audience reminding our bosses, what about me too? I'm putting in the grind as well. So I got your back.
I'm going to forget who you even are if I get $78 million. I'm going to say that I don't know you. You don't work here. That Flyers jersey in the sports office belongs to me. We're done.
I think that's bad karma. All right, we're going to leave it there.
Oh, yeah. Next thing you know, you're going to get it. And then
right?
we're going to do the same thing to me.
I'm going to sit back and say, I would have looked out for you, but you said publicly what was going on.
Yep.
All right, Marcus, thank you very much, man. We will check
you.
in. Absolutely. I appreciate you back. All right, next up, we were talking earlier about what's going on with TSA, with DHS. It's a lot of letters. So immigration funding, the airport funding, the different workers that are going on, the Coast Guard. There are a lot of things that right now are caught up in this government shutdown, at least budgetary shutdown. And Democrats and Republicans continue to argue. They continue to be divided. Democrats are saying that they will go ahead and fund TSA, the Coast Guard, several other things, but are not going to fund immigration until there are some significant changes. That's what you heard in the Senate floor, on the Senate floor a little bit earlier. That was the Democrat perspective. This is the Republican perspective. They see it very differently.
Mr. President, every day the Democrats refuse to fund DHS. They choose politics over the safety and security of our great nation. They continue to be the party of open borders and to fund the police. This just in over the wires, Mr. President. Breaking, the FBI has warned police departments in California that Iran wants to retaliate for American attacks by launching offensive drones against the West Coast, according to an alert review. That's from ABC News. Mr. President, we can expect these threats to ramp up every day, and meanwhile, my colleagues across the aisle refuse to fund DHS. Mr. President, this is a political reason. You know, folks back home ask me, why won't the Democrats come to the table? Well, that's just the issue. They won't even come to the table. The White House gave them a new deal, but the Democrats refuse to sit down with the White House and do any further negotiation. There's no negotiation any further for weeks now at the subcommittee level, at the committee chair level, at the whip level, at the leadership level, with our leader and their leader. They refuse to sit down with us. That's what America needs to understand. The Democrats won't even sit down to have this discussion. That's because it's a political issue that they happen to like. But we are a party of law and order. We are a party, we're a nation that wants secure borders, and we want law and order. Every day they refuse to fund DHS. They're denying the urgent need to secure our borders against millions of unvetted illegal immigrants and fentanyl floods killing Americans daily, proving they're the party of open borders. Every day, they deny to fund DHS. They're denying funding for law enforcement heroes in DHS, embracing their defund the police agenda that lets criminals roam free and terrorize communities. They are denying the critical cybersecurity. People aren't getting this. DHS oversees the cybersecurity protections for our power grids and infrastructure, inviting attacks from enemies like Iran amid escalating threats. They're denying resources for combating human trafficking and child exploitation through HSI, abandoning vulnerable victims to cartels they empower with lax policies. How do they not negotiate with this on the line, with American safety on the line? They deny the economic hardship on union workers and federal employees furloughed in their shutdown stunt, betraying blue-collar families they claim to champion. They're denying the bipartisan legacy of DHS by blocking reforms and oversight, allowing executive overreach that weakens congressional checks and American sovereignty. They're denying the blood on their hands from terror risk, migrant crimes, and disaster response failures, prioritizing radical politics over national security and lives. Every day, it's the Democrats' fault American lives are at risk. I ask them, quit your games, quit the politics, come to the table and make America safe again. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield back.
Senator from Wyoming.
Mr. President, I've been listening to my colleagues on the other side of the aisle so I could try to understand their arguments. On my side of the aisle, we've been told that the Democrats in the Senate will not meet with the Republicans in the Senate about this issue. And yet we've had Democrat after Democrat on this floor this afternoon complain that they can't get meetings with Republican senators. They won't meet with Republican senators. They say we only want to meet with the president. Now we hear the president has submitted a proposal to them that is extremely reasonable. That's what we hear on the Republican side of the aisle. We haven't seen the president's proposal to the Democrats because they won't show it to us. Makes me wonder whether the president's proposal was so reasonable that they don't want to show it to us, that they don't want to be put in the position of having to agree with the president that they truly despise as an individual. So, the whole nation is being held up by this. So I want to apologize to the American people, especially to the TSA agents, the FEMA workers, and other agencies within the Department of Homeland Security who are not getting paid. I want to apologize to the American people who are standing in lines at airports trying to get through TSA to get on airplanes, and they're stuck in those lines for 3 and 4 hours. I want to apologize to the people in my state, day before yesterday, who live in the city of Wright, Wyoming, where there was a over 1,500 acre fire heading in the direction of Wright, and no one from FEMA was available to help advise with regard to those issues. These things are happening around our country today, and yet we have Democrats in this Senate saying the Republicans won't work with us, and we have Republicans in this Senate saying the Democrats won't even speak to us. It sounds like two ships passing in the night in the Senate. Now, the odd thing is, when we're not in front of the cameras, we're not on C-SPAN, we're not on this floor making speeches, we actually do talk to each other. We actually do get along. And yet, here we are in an impasse that has us hurling disagreements at each other that don't even reflect an assessment. If I was watching this on C-SPAN and I was just a citizen, I would say, I don't get this. They're acting as if they don't know what the other side is doing or thinking. Well, even being here in this body, I don't know what the other side is thinking. I hear them say they're mad because ICE agents are wearing masks and don't have warrants. And there's a couple things there that I would point out. The reason ICE agents started wearing masks is because truly belligerent protesters were identifying those ICE agents and then going to their homes and their children's schools and threatening their families. So they put on masks so as they are doing their job, the protesters cannot identify them and harass their families and them for doing their job. Then I hear that this is about the fact that some Americans, protesters, were killed in Minneapolis. We all mourn those deaths. But those were protesters who were not innocent bystanders. They were protesting in a very provocative way, taking on ICE agents directly, either using their cars or kicking the headlights out of cars and yelling and throwing rocks at ICE agents. That's not innocence. It doesn't mean they should have been shot, but it does mean they were not behaving in an innocent manner. But let's look at who was behaving in an innocent manner. Laken Riley was out jogging in Georgia when an illegal alien came up and killed her. And she fought back, and they smashed her until she was dead. That was an innocent bystander. The little girl who was raped and thrown to the side of the road in Texas, that was an innocent bystander. The mother who was jogging here back east, the mother of 4 kids, who was attacked and murdered while jogging, that was an innocent bystander. The problem I have with this whole discussion is we're showing tremendous sympathy for American protesters who were encountering ICE agents in a provocative way, and we have forgotten about the innocent Americans who were killed by illegal criminals, some of whom had been previously arrested in this country and turned loose. When trying to eradicate this country of the illegal criminals who are harassing people in this country, are killing people in this country, are raping people in this country, are human trafficking in this country, we're taking our eye off the reason that ICE exists in the first place. We're taking our eye off the American people who just want to feel safe when they go for a jog, when their kids are out riding their bikes. I do feel terrible about the American who were provoking ICE agents and were killed in the process. But I feel more sorry for the parents, the children, the husbands and wives who lost their family members through no fault of the innocent victim. So we're in a terrible conundrum here. We have the Democrats refusing to pay TSA, Homeland Security agencies like FEMA, if ICE agents aren't required to strip those masks off their faces when they're arresting people. But the Democrats aren't acknowledging that those masks were worn simply for the ICE agents to protect themselves and their own families. What a conundrum we're in. And the innocent American people standing in TSA lines are bearing the brunt of this. The employees of the federal government who haven't received a paycheck are bearing the brunt of this. I wish the cameras weren't on. I wish we could have discussions on things like this the way our Constitution was drafted. Those were not open discussions. There were no cameras. The founders weren't playing to the cameras. In fact, they locked themselves in a hot, humid, stinky room until they came up with the greatest document that's ever been written in a secular manner by mankind. And here we are defending that document today and debating it. So I would ask my Democrat colleagues, sit down with Katie Britt. Sit down with our Senate colleagues on our side of the aisle. Bring your own colleagues who feel strongly about this, who are passionate about this. Sit down and have a discussion among us. I know you too well. You are reasonable when you want to be. We are reasonable when we want to be. So let's turn off the stupid cameras and have a family conversation for the good of the American people. Mr. President, I yield back.
Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. So those were the comments that were taking place on the floor, House and Senate, a little bit earlier today about finally funding DHS, TSA, several different departments in government that are held up by this. It's really a budgetary shutdown because the government is open, but there are people who continue to work with no paycheck. We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, there are more developments in this case of local individuals, teens really, students in our area who were involved in the what's being called terror attacks outside of the mayor's house in New York City. It now has continued to escalate, and there were developments in our area, and our Dawn Timoney is going to break that all down for us in 2 minutes. Stay tuned. Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. Philadelphia Live on Fox Local and all streaming platforms. And as I said, going into the break, we continue to learn more about this situation that took place in New York City, but ties directly to students in our area who have been arrested, charged, and now the investigation continues. Our Dawn Timoney has continued to look into it. And Dawn, we keep getting new information.
Absolutely. Phantom Fireworks releasing its surveillance video showing one of the two teenagers implicated in this foiled terror plot in New York City allegedly buying material used to make those homemade bombs. Two of them. You can see the video shows 18-year-old Amir Balat of Langhorne buying fireworks fuses on Monday, March 2nd, 20 feet of fuse, $6.89. It's a little before 1 in the afternoon at the store in Pendle. Now, federal prosecutors say Balat tossed one of those improvised explosive devices he allegedly used with making that fuse into a crowd of people at a demonstration outside the New York City mayor's residence. This was on March 7th, so we're talking several days later. His alleged accomplice, Ibrahim Kayumi handing him a second device, which you can see right there from video from the criminal complaint he dropped. Now, fortunately, neither of these devices detonated. Phantom Fireworks Vice President and General Counsel William Weiner says there were no red flags with regard to the purchase of the fuses.
He just drives in and parks right in front of the store like a normal customer, comes in, signs in like a normal customer, no words, no hassle, nothing. He shopped, found what he wanted, went to the cash register, checked out, paid, then went to his car and drove away. There was nothing remarkable about the entire experience from our point of view.
Now, the company says when the names were released into the news, that's when they decided that they would check their records and see if either of these individuals had been into their stores, if they were in their system, and Balat was a hit, and that's when they found this video, which they then contacted the local FBI office, which then subpoenaed the company for the footage. Balat and Kayumi say that they were actually inspired by ISIS. Both remain in federal custody. Balat's next court appearance is set for April 8th. But Bill, the local connection just keeps getting stronger and stronger. But fortunately, this company came forward with the footage, and it's now being used as evidence as they build the case against these two young men.
Dawn, it's interesting because all of this evidence continues to come forward, and there's surveillance video and all of these things that are stepping up. They're building a really solid case, but the suspects aren't denying their involvement. So it's interesting to see how this all continues to expand.
Right. No, they definitely are not denying their involvement. They say they were inspired by ISIS. And Balat, the young man who we saw in that footage, said that his goal was to have a bigger explosion and incident than the Boston Marathon bombing, which 3 people died in that. He wanted more deaths. So clearly, they're not denying their involvement. And again, they remain in federal custody.
Yeah, it is scary, though, as you pointed out. Like, the more we learn about this, these are young people who were in classes and schools here.
Yeah, Balat was a senior at Chamonix High School. The other young man went to Council Rock, members of the local community. And here they were allegedly conspiring to cause harm and destruction and death.
Yeah, it's crazy, and the story continues to expand. Dawn, thank you, and we'll see more on the 10 o'clock news, Fox 29. We will see your story, more information, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure.
That's our Dawn Timoney breaking this all down for us. It really is, when you see all of the work that goes into it. Dawn talking to the people at those stores, they stepped forward and shared information with the FBI. When you see all of this, it kind of paints this eerie picture. Because it is very much like the stereotype that people talk about, that you have individuals who are standing right next to you who may be plotting these types of things. There's a lot more information that will continue to come forward. We're going to take one more quick break, and then we will come back. What continues to trend? What's going on? Also, the weather. Scott said we might have some snow. Hopefully not a whole lot of it, and more information on sports, the World Baseball Classic, and more. Just stay put. So it's 9/11, Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. We're going to check in with Cam and trending topics, but when we last spoke to Cam, she was talking about President Trump at a speech, making a reference to Jake Paul and kind of endorsing him for whatever office he chooses. Here's what the president had to say.
Jake Paul is a great guy, and part of the deal is he said, "Do you mind if I do an interview with you?" I said, "Jake, I'm the president of the United States. I don't do interviews. Look at Joe Biden. He went 2.5 years without doing an interview because he was shot. But he was shot 30 years ago, too. He was no good. But I said, Jake, I'm president. How can I do your local podcast?" But his local podcast is big stuff, and he's big stuff. Jake, you got to come up. Come here. Come on. You got to come. This guy has guts. And he walked out with a broken jaw. Anyway, this was not the greatest fight. But you know what it showed? Lots of courage. Come here, Jake. Say a few words. These are your people.
Yeah, what Mr. Trump has taught me is courage. We never back down from a fight, even if they're much bigger than you, much, much bigger than you. And I feel all the local Kentuckians feel the same way. You guys have that fight. You guys have that swag. There's a lot of young kids in here. The future of America. I grew up just a few hours away from here, and my dad taught me to fight. And all of our voices matter in America. And I'm never afraid to speak the truth, and I know you guys aren't. We are here representing the United States, and it's just a blessing. Thank you, Mr. Trump. We need more factories like this thriving all over the country, and I know he's going to be the one to bring that here to us. I know God is with us. I know he wants us on the right side of history, and everyone here has to do their part, and God's got us. Trump's got us. God bless. Love you, Kentucky.
All right, so Jake is a great guy. Bring him on out here. I got his back. He didn't have to reference him getting his jaw broken, Cam. That was just mean.
You know what, Bill? As I watched that, there was only one thing that I could focus on, and that's Jake Paul's armpits. Because I could see where these big, gigantic sweat stains, and I could see that being a trending topic or another angle to this whole thing too. Like, we see some random things when we look at what's trending, so I could see it being Jake Paul armpits.
Carly, can you pull that back up?
So sorry. I'm so sorry, but that's all I could.
Jake Paul is a great guy.
You think that's going to start trending? Let's see.
Oh, for sure.
They're going to try to forward to Jake Paul when he comes out on. Oh, that's crazy.
Like, that's all I could see in that tan suit. Those armpits.
You don't think anybody said something?
At first, I was like, is that a part of the design of the suit? Like, maybe they're trying to do a little blend. Yeah, but no.
Wow.
Then I'm like, what's the temperature out there in Kentucky?
100.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be.
Wow. Now he knows. Wear the dark suit. That's the strategy in all this.
Exactly. So if he does end up running for something, he'll know now. But that's an interesting interaction.
Now I can't unsee it. It's going all down the whole inside of your arm.
He was high. And then, that moment on stage.
Yeah, that could be nerve-wracking, I guess.
It can definitely be nerve-wracking.
Yeah, you're speaking president. Anyway, so that's what the president had to say about Jake Paul. What else are people looking at?
All right, so of course we have these tensions in the Middle East and the war going on in Iran. Stryker was hit in a suspected Iran-linked cyber attack today. So Stryker is a Michigan-based U.S. medical device manufacturer. Think about, the hospital beds, artificial joints. They are creating those types of medical products. And it appears that this cyber attack was linked to an Iranian-based group, and they tracked and they hit their Microsoft Teams database there at Stryker. It houses about 56,000 employees around the world. It had a revenue of more than $25 billion in 2025, and that is Stryker. So they are monitoring this. There's no new updates or information on this cyber attack, but those 56,000 employees at Stryker they were impacted today. And, you know, it raises a lot of questions, raises a lot of eyebrows on, you know, if this could happen again at other companies, and what we can do to make sure that our devices and the databases that we are using are secure. So we will, of course, keep that article that you just saw there on Fox29.com. We'll keep that updated, and we'll come back with the latest. But that is definitely trending nationally, and is also trending on our website.
And so we will have it up there, all the different updates. There's a lot of good information there that you've been talking about throughout, Cam. So that update, the ability to go in and support the Girl Scouts and their cookies, the things that are trending. So that's why people should always punch in Fox29.com and keep the app open as well.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
Thank
Appreciate you. All right, thanks so much, Cam. Next up, we have been looking into all of this weather. We've had great days. Apparently, it has been as warm here as it was at the Jake Paul speech with President Trump. So, Scott, we're setting records. It's been warm. It's been nice looking outside at all these cameras. It's still a decent night outside, but you're saying that that's going to change pretty quickly.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the party's over tomorrow, Bill. We're talking about temperatures today that made it into the low 80s, breaking, well, really smashing the old record set back in 2021 of 74 degrees. We maxed out at 83 degrees. And right now, damp and dreary conditions across the Delaware Valley. A few severe thunderstorms right now moving into parts of South Jersey. Lots of lightning with this activity. Those temperatures still 71 degrees right now outside of our studios here in Philadelphia. Nothing severe right now in Center City, but of course, take a look at this map and you can see we still have that severe thunderstorm watch in effect until about 11 o'clock. That includes now, it just updated. You can see for South Jersey, so the north and west suburbs have been cleared from that as well as Delaware. So we're really just keeping tabs moving into interior parts of South Jersey as well as portions of Atlantic County into Cumberland County as well as northern sections of Cape May County. So vivid lightning with this activity as it moves on off to the east. Currently moving to the east at about 50 miles per hour, winds gusting up to 60 miles per hour, but torrential downpours with this activity. Severe thunderstorm warning still in effect until about 9:45. This is moving down the AC Expressway, moving through Gloucester County, Camden County, into Cumberland County as well. So around Millville, moving down 55 as you head into Cumberland County, of course. Looking at some of that torrential rain as well as vivid lightning. Take a look at this box. Mainly into South Jersey, looking at a lot of lightning, over 200 lightning strikes with this. So, of course, when thunder roars, head indoors. If you can hear thunder, you can be struck by lightning. So we're watching a light show across parts of the area as well. Now, as we zoom in, you can see the heaviest activity has shifted into South Jersey, moving, as we talked about, down the White Horse Pike as you get through sections of Camden County, places like Atco, looking at some heavy rainfall. This is moving toward Winslow as well as Hamilton. Vineland there, looking at very heavy rainfall as this pushes on off to the east. So we would be talking about some straight line wind damage with this as it continues blowing on through the area, moving toward Cumberland County as well over the next half hour or so to go with that severe thunderstorm warning. Severe thunderstorm watch in effect for most of South Jersey again until about 11 o'clock this evening. And the primary threat will be those straight line winds gusting over 60 miles per hour. Still can't rule out some small hail, flash flooding could be a low concern, and the tornado threat is diminishing as it continues moving on off to the east. I think straight line winds would be the primary player. Look at how that's bowing out right now. And then as we get toward 10, 11 o'clock, a few leftover showers out there, even back to the north and west during the wee hours of your Thursday. But that's not the actual cold front. The actual cold front, that is still well off to the west, and that will be moving through during your Thursday. So take a look at just how fast these temperatures are going to be falling. Today's high temperature, as we talked a little bit about, was 83 degrees, smashing the record of 74 back in 2021. And look at these temperatures, 62 degrees at 6 a.m., 50s by 8 o'clock, 40s by 10 a.m., looking kind of damp and dreary. And then as we get toward the afternoon, we could see a few wet snowflakes mixing in as that precipitation kind of comes through with that front. So, I mean, just unbelievable. 83 degrees today, and by 5 o'clock tomorrow, we could be looking at that rain to wet snow and temperatures in the upper 30s. I mean, just unbelievable. And take a look at this computer model. Now, this isn't going to stick because it's been in the 80s today, but you can see we're talking about some of that wet snow potentially across the area. So once again, this isn't a snow map or anything like that. It's just showing you that we could be talking about some of that snow falling from the sky tomorrow. So weather whiplash at its finest. So if you had to have a definition of weather whiplash, you would look at today's date and then compare it to tomorrow, Bill.
That's absolutely nuts. You know, it's nuts. But hopefully, as you said, it's here and gone, and hopefully we can get back on track
to
with
normal.
The beautiful days.
To
yeah,
normal.
Right.
Yeah, normal. I'll take normal.
Okay, just no more snow. But it is crazy though, because as I said, I was walking around the neighborhood, went to grab dinner between the 4 o'clock show and the 7 o'clock show, and people are all sitting out there, they're having a nice dinner, sitting at the outdoor chairs and everything else. And this time tomorrow, it might be snowing.
Yeah, hopefully they're watching us right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. And Scott will break all of this down for you, Fox 29 News at 10. So stay put. We get you caught up on all of the breaking news, and then we keep it going 24 hours a day. That's the goal, and we continue to get close to it. Give us a second. We'll keep expanding Fox Local, all the streaming platforms. And we do have we're going to take a break, but our question of the day on social media continues to generate quite a few answers. So we will break that down in just a second. Would you help? You're taking a nice stroll along the beach in Florida. This is going viral on social media because it happened. Nice stroll along the beach in Florida, and you walk up on a beached great white shark. Look at that. It's a pretty big shark that is beached. Clearly in distress, but a great white shark in the water. So those people right there, they are self-proclaimed animal lovers, shark lovers. They said they appreciate the beauty of the shark. Yeah. And so they went out and helped. And our question of the day is, would you? We will look at some of the answers that we're getting from people. Here's a little hint. Most people saying not so much, but some, they're stepping up. All right, we'll be back in just a second. Give us 2 minutes. Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. We're sitting here in the studio looking at some of your comments from our question of the day. So quickly to refresh, this actually happened. It's trending video. It's going viral because there is a woman who was walking along the beach and she sees this shark. She said she was watching the shark for a little while and then she saw it. I guess it beached itself or it got stranded. She went out into the water with her partner, friend, whoever that person is, and they had to do a lot. It was a big shark that they were trying to figure out how to get back out into the water. So they're out there with it. Eventually, they said after like 20 minutes, they were able to get the shark back out into the water. And so it worked, but now it has gone viral. It is trending. And we asked you the question of the day, would you do that? Do you see yourself stepping up and wanting to help? So many comments are coming in. We've got a couple of them from you. This is from my Bill A. Fox 29 page. Top comment, hell no. That shark will have to stay stuck. I'm not the one. No, 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 no. Right below that, hell no. But I will make a call. Right below that, nope. The answer is easy. A big great white? Nah, nope, not. Absolutely not. And nope, because I'll be the unlucky one who ends up on the news. So those are the comments that are going on. Now, in fairness, the person who saved the shark ended up on the news. So that is positive vibes going on there. All right, we're going to check in and see what's going on with sports. Breland is getting herself into position. She is rocking the cool Philly jacket. I commented on that jacket earlier today. I'm going to have to get one of those at some point. So let's get to sports and see what's going on. I believe Breland is ready. So we started off, Breland. First of all, kudos. Commented on the jacket, told everybody how much you love the jacket.
Thanks. It's a union jacket.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
I like that. That's good union swag.
Yeah.
Also, it looks like the monumental error made by Team USA, looks like they might be getting bailed out.
Yeah, so what needed to happen was either Italy wins or Mexico had to put up at least 5 runs and win that way. The worst thing that could have possibly happened was that Mexico won scoring, 4 or under kinds of runs. Well, that's not happening. Italy is just running away with it, which is a little surprising because after last night's performance, all we heard all pre-tournament was it's a 3-dog race and it's going to be the United States, Japan, and the Dominican Republic. And the United States kind of got a little mollywop. They came back at the end, but I mean, at one point they were losing 8-0. And then today, Italy seems to be very dominant as well. So maybe they're a little dark horse candidate that wasn't really on the national writers' radar, but definitely something to look out for. By the way, Aaron Nola did quite well as well. So.
Yeah, it is interesting because they're not squeaking by. I mean, they put up 8 on the U.S. Right. They put up 7, on Mexico. They're crushing Mexico.
Yeah, they're rolling, and so that's definitely something to keep an eye on moving forward here as we go into the knockout rounds of things. Definitely a little bit surprising, and I don't think a lot of people anticipated that happening. So, curious.
Do you think they got bailed out? Italy stepped up and saved the day. Thank you, Aaron Nola. Do you think that the mistake made by the manager lingers, or now that they likely to advance, all is forgotten?
We'll see. I mean, it's basically, how sports is. It's what have you done for me lately? And so if they can make an honest run out of it, and I think maybe, then that little gaffe of saying we're already in the quarterfinals will be forgotten at some point, but to a degree. But if they get knocked out right away, I mean, probably not.
Yeah, probably shouldn't be out drinking and celebrating. And let's finish the tournament before the next example of drinking and celebrating.
One step at a time, for sure.
What was your take? I know we were talking about it a little bit earlier. It was nice to see Jordan Davis got the bag, had a press conference. What was your take on seeing all that?
Well, first of all, I love Jordan Davis. I think he's one of the most fun guys in the locker room, definitely in my top 5 of guys to interview and just talk to because he's just such a dynamic personality. So I love this on a personal level for him. But I mean, Jordan Davis really put the work in all offseason last year. He got himself into shape. He came to training camp, you know, we call it skinny, but of course he's still about 300 pounds, you know. But he came to training camp in shape, and it really showed. It really made a difference on the field last year. He had a breakout season last year, and so for him to be able to capitalize on that and get paid and say, hey, the work's still not done, I still want to be involved. Also, he just really stepped up in his leadership role last year as well. And one of the things that I remember him saying towards the end of the season was, I don't need a C on my chest to be a leader here, and I can still make a difference. I can still step up. I can still be a mentor. I can still do all of these things without necessarily being in a leadership position. I find it really hard to believe that Jordan Davis will not have a C on his chest this year. I can almost bet money at this point. Not that I will, but I can almost bet money on this. Like Jason's screaming at me to bet money. And it's got a little distracting, but I can almost bet money that he will absolutely be voted captain this year just because of how instrumental he is in that position group in the locker room. So I'm super thrilled for him, and also was really thrilled to see Jalen Carter also attending that, which was a complete surprise to JD. He had no idea, and that bodes really well for Jalen Carter's future here in the Eagles organization too.
I also think, and I'm curious what you think about it, I feel like it sends a message to the rest of the players as well. Like, this was a guy who last year people were talking about, do you even keep him? And they challenged him to go out there, to put in the work, to get in shape. He did all that, and a year later he gets the huge bag. I mean, you got to figure other players are going, oh, okay.
Yeah, and I think that that's just a lesson for anybody in any organization, not necessarily the Eagles. That's just a league-wide thing. Hey, put in the work, do the thing. You look at guys like Brandon Graham. Early on in his career, he was called a bust, and he goes out celebrated as one of the greatest and most beloved Eagles of all time, right? And everybody who's anybody, the second you hear Brandon Graham, you think of that strip sack in Super Bowl 52 and just his dynamic leadership. And I think Jordan Davis has a very similar trajectory if he continues on this path of, you know, not necessarily starting off the hottest, but ended up stepping up, doing the things he needed to do, and got it done. And obviously the results speak for itself. So I think this is not just, honestly, this isn't even a lesson for the NFL. This is a life lesson, right? Put the work in, and more than likely, if you stack the days and get the reps, you will be rewarded.
So to our management at Fox 29, Breland and I are both here.
Hello,
we are putting it in. We are working hard. You don't even have to do 78. You could split it.
Yeah.
And we'll be all right.
I would be just fine with, what is that like? I clearly went to journalism school and not to, math school. But what is that, like 35 basically? I'd take that. Would you be okay with that? I'd even take like a lesser split. That's okay with me, Bill. You can have the most.
It's like 30. It's like 39. And listen, I'll sign a lifetime contract. I'm not even sure how long I'm going to live. But you could do 39 from now on, and I will go ahead and do it.
That would be okay with me too. I think that's just fine. We should take it up with the fourth floor.
Like it. I will come to your press conference as well.
Yeah, I will come to yours, Bill.
All right. Thanks, Breland. We will see more in sports, the Fox 29 News at 10. All right, going to take a break. Then when we come back, there are some more comments that we were talking about that have been going on, more debate on the House and Senate floor about what to do in terms of funding DHS and TSA, getting people back to work, or at least paid. They're still at work. Democrats and Republicans were having at it. There were also some additional events going on. Going to get you all caught up, so stay with us. It's Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. about 9:38, Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. And as we said, the debate goes on, the discussion as to how to fund the government, how to get TSA workers paid, whether or not they can reach some sort of agreement as to what you do with ICE, immigration officers, DHS. All of that has been debated, and it continued on the Senate floor today.
These times are not normal. In normal times, in the history of the United States of America, government agents bashing down doors, trashing living rooms, terrorizing children, detaining and arresting people without a judicial warrant would be condemned by the administration, and they would say, we need reforms. In normal times, masked agents in unmarked cars without identification on their bodies would be forbidden by the government of the United States of America. In normal times, mass sweeps in the streets or shootings of United States citizens for no reason, citizens without any criminal record, and killing 2 of them, would prompt sweeping reforms by that administration. And in normal times, the government of the United States would say, when we are responsible for harms that violate people's rights and injure them, they should have recourse. They should have redress. In normal times, that's what would happen. These times are not normal because this administration has no respect for the law. It is not only condoning, it's encouraging an out-of-control, lawless, and reckless agency, ICE, and also the Customs and Border Patrol, which is operating unlawfully as a matter of clear statute outside where it should be just geographically. And in normal times, we would value public servants at TSA, in the Coast Guard, in FEMA, rather than having a Department of Governmental Efficiency, DOGE, causing cuts, massive firings, cancellations of contracts that devalue and demean and degrade those public servants. The failure to pay them now reflects that demeaning and degrading attitude toward public servants, because this administration has the money to provide those payments. And it has done in the past, moving funds from one account to another in ways that are perfectly possible now, but the measures that we have before us would compel them to pay those public servants. These times are not normal, and that's why we stand here today, to insist that the Constitution of the United States be respected. 250 years ago, colonies revolted because British soldiers bashed down doors and took stuff from the colonial settlers. And America revolted. It took years, long years, winter fighting, George Washington rallying the troops, continuing to recruit and keep them going along with others, a fraction of the population at that point enduring suffering and pain far more painful than standing in line at an airport. But the values and the laws that we are here to defend are what should be normal in America. They are what is normal in our Constitution and our respect for individual rights and liberties. And we are in the minority in this body as well as in the other house. We're in the minority in the Congress. We have no one in the White House. The Supreme Court is controlled by the majority party. The power of the purse is one of the levers that we do have. And we are using that power to say no to DHS funding as long as these kinds of violations of laws are occurring and reoccurring, not only in Minneapolis, but all across the country. And the hearings that I held in the Permanent Subcommittee on Investigation, the Spotlight hearings, with people, United States citizens, who have been dragged out of their cars and assaulted, forced to the pavement, injured, denied medical care, access to phones or lawyers or their families. The hearings that we had with a whistleblower who told us that that kind of misconduct was no accident. It was the result of instructions and training specifically given to those agents to violate the Fourth Amendment. And of course, the brothers of Renee Good, who was killed, telling us how it happened. America is demanding these reforms. It isn't we who are imagining or hypothesizing the need for them. America is demanding them after America has seen what ICE and CBP are doing. And we can enable payment of TSA and FEMA and the Coast Guard and those brave and dedicated public servants in those agencies by simply approving today the measure that the senator from Washington has so ably brought to us. Common sense reforms are not incompatible with the payment of these individuals. Let us pay them now, adopt this measure, and then make sure that we keep faith with America, that we adhere to the rule of law, that we apply the same standards of conduct to federal agents as apply to local police in your community. If your police chief took the position that this administration has done, they would be fired. If they defended local police who bashed down doors without a judicial warrant at homes without consent, if they defended masked members of their local police force doing sweeps with masks, without identification, and unmarked cars, they would be fired. And if they opposed the idea that people who were harmed in violation of the law by local police should have no recourse, they would be fired. So I hope my Republican colleagues will get serious about what should be normal, and that they will decide what to do, what is best for their constituents and for Americans. We're ready. We have been ready. We're simply asking that ICE and CBP follow the rule of law and adhere to the same standards as local and state police forces, and that our Republican colleagues get serious about paying the dedicated men and women of these agencies who are working hard every day and deserve our respect. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.
So they continue to go back and forth throughout the day. No resolution so far, but at least they are talking at each other. So far, it appears they're not talking to each other. A little bit earlier on, we showed the clip of President Trump speaking, acknowledging Jake Paul, bringing him up on the stage. That was at a longer speech, obviously, that he was giving, where he touched on several different topics, the economy, Iran, so many others. Let's hear what the president had to say.
After so many years of politicians who sold out the working men and women of our country, we finally have a president who puts American workers first. With us today are the front row Joes. You know, they have followed me. What are you up to? About 350 rallies, right? 350 rallies. I don't know what the hell they do. I don't know where they get their money, but they follow me a lot. We have a lot of people. They follow, just like a tour. But they're front row Joes. They're like professionals at getting on the front row. Thank you. And there's a lot of them, too. Thank you very much. Great honor. So a short time ago, under a man named Sleepy Joe Biden, has anyone heard of him? Has anyone heard of him? How about Barack Hussein Obama? He went to Jesse Jackson's funeral. He spoke, and it was like a political hit job. And the family of Jesse Jackson got angry as hell at him because they understand they hated each other. You know, he was there. But I loved watching that. That was so. The family goes outside and they start screaming at him. A short time ago, under Biden and his allies in Congress, we were dead as a doornail. We were a dead country, I'll tell you, and it looked like we weren't going to come back. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. This is the hottest country anywhere in the world. Most powerful military. The stock market has set 53 all-time record highs since the election, all time. And the typical American's 401k is up by almost $35,000 since I took office. And in 4 years, Joe Biden got less than $1 trillion of new investment into the United States. So think of this. $1 trillion over a period of much less, over a period of 4 years. We got $18 trillion. And Jake Paul knows what that means. $18 trillion in 11 months, because they haven't calculated the 12 months. So we have 18 trillion in 11 months. Say in a year, what difference does it make compared to substantially less than 1 trillion in 4 years? You would say they didn't do a good job, Jake. I didn't ask Jake who he voted for, but I don't think it was Kamala. I don't think so. I think your whole reputation would be shot if you said, oh, I voted for Kamala. That would be the end of your whole career, Jake. But here in the heartland of America, you're already seeing the results of what we've done. I just came from Thermo Fisher Scientific in Reading, Ohio, right across the way. The great American company that's investing $2 billion in domestic manufacturing, all because of what we've done with the tariffs and with the deductions and all of the other things that we've done. Ford Motor Company, and by the way, we have more jobs in terms of construction. We're building more factories now in this country than at any time in the history of our country. More factories are being built. And Ford Motor Company, a good old staple, has announced a $2 billion assembly plant in Louisville, Kentucky, which will support more than 2,200 Kentucky jobs. And I was with Ford the other day. I was in Detroit, and Bill Ford, the head of it, he had an advantage over everybody else in getting the job, but that's okay. He was born Ford, but he was showing me a plant that was built in like 1914, very old, one of the biggest plants in the country, but one of the oldest. And they were getting ready to shut it down a year and a half ago. And then he heard Trump was running, and he sort of said, let's wait. So they were getting ready to shut it down. It was on minimal time. It was just a question of time, but he said, let's wait. And he waited. And they just announced 2 weeks ago that they're now going to run 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, building the Ford 150. A big difference. It's a big difference. That's a big difference. You shut it down or you run 24 hours a day. And they're doing a good job. Apple, a great company, $2.5 billion to manufacture 100% of the glass for iPhones and Apple Watches right here in Kentucky factories, all being made in Kentucky. And Apple's spending $650 billion on new plants all over the United States. Think of that. Who the hell else could have done this? Nobody else. Nobody else. I say it kiddingly, but I'm actually not kidding. Nobody else could have. He's done a good job, Tim Cook, but $650 billion, think of it. And just 2 days ago, GE Aerospace, they're doing phenomenally, announced a $1 billion investment in American manufacturing, including $115 million right across the river in the Queen City, Cincinnati. I love Cincinnati. So jobs, factories, and new investments are pouring in as they do. We have added 70,000 new construction jobs in just a short period of time, including 8,000 brand new construction jobs in Kentucky. Okay? Kentucky. I love the way a real Kentuckian pronounces it, but if I do it, but I love Kentucky. More Americans are working today than any time in history, and that number is going to be, wait till you see the numbers by the end of the year. We did an excursion. Do you know what an excursion is? We had to take a little trip to get rid of some evil, very evil people. It should have been done for 47 years. They've been killing our people. 47 years. 47 years. And I can only say this. They were all prepared. They're very strong. You know, they're going to try and take over the whole Middle East. They were going to knock out Israel. They don't know what the hell hit them, right? They don't know what hit them. They got hit by the American military. They don't know. They say, what the hell is happening? They didn't expect anything like this. To bring down energy costs for American workers and families and businesses like this one, we ended the Green New scam. You know the scam? Greatest scam in American history. Well, maybe the election results of the second election were. I would say what was the greater scam, the Green New scam or the 2020 rigged election? I would say the 2020. I think the election. I think the election, but what difference? But the main thing is, we said, get out and vote. We're going to do it again. And we're going to make it too big to rig. And that's what we did. We got the highest vote in history. We didn't need that big. We made it too big to rig. We terminated the insane electric vehicle mandate where you were mandated. And I like electric cars. I think they're great. I like Elon. I said, Elon, look. Not everybody wants an electric car. And I like him, and it's a great product, everything, but they have to have, we ended the mandate. We ended the mandate. Now you can have gasoline, you can have hybrid, you can have whatever the hell you want, you can have electric. They wanted you to buy an electric car by 2030. The only one problem, you can't charge it. You ever see a charger? You're driving down the road, you're running a little low, and they say, electric charging plant 150 miles up the road. That's a bad feeling.
Guys, we'll be right back to wrap things up. Stay tuned.
2 minutes.
That's just about it for us. Thanks so much for spending some time with us, but stay put as we continue to tell you the whole point of Fox Local and all the streaming platforms is for us to be available to you with all of the breaking news information 24 hours a day. And we are pretty close, so stay tuned. The Fox 29 News at 10 is coming up momentarily. Have a great night, guys. Thanks so much for watching.